Join public address announcer Ron Rimmer. Ron?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very pleased to have with us tonight a Canadian independent recording artist to perform tonight's national anthem. She's been singing since the age of 5 and has opened for such notable acts as the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Patricia Conway, and Prairie Oyster. Please rise, remove your hats, and welcome Manville, Alberta's Krista Scoggins.
Oh, Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front essaie de fleurs glorieux. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very special thank you to Krista Scoggins.
And we're just about ready for football here in Edmonton. Montreal won the Grey Cup, but here it is behind me. The Grey Cup is in Edmonton here today as it is spending some time in the Alberta capital. Some quick thoughts, some final thoughts on this game. Let me begin with Sean Millington. We talk about a lack of a running game for the Montreal Alouettes. Who is Thunder Collins?
Well, hey, they may have called me the Diesel, but I never had a moniker like Thunder. I mean, there's a guy that we expect to see come up and replace Eric Lapointe in Montreal, who went down last week. Now we're going to see what Thunder can do.
Very quickly, what about Coach Tom Higgins yesterday from Edmonton saying to me, I got 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D as far as the quarterbacks. I'm starting Ricky Ray, but Bart Hendricks may come in the first half or will come in. Do you agree with that?
Well, we spent time talking about Don Matthews, how he brings confidence to Matt Kellett, how he performs. We talked about Jim Barker being able to give some confidence to his players. You know, it's about giving confidence to your quarterback. Same thing.
Couple of seconds, Darren.
I for once agree with Greg. I say you put your quarterback in there, he starts to fail, then you bring the other guy out.
All right, we're set for football. Let's go upstairs. Once again, Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby. Chris?
Today on our Saturday game, and both teams want to bring 1-2 punches to the field, looking for a knockout. And for the Eskimos, as the guys mentioned, it will be at quarterback, where Ricky Ray was terrific last year, but we are going to see Bart Hendricks too today.
Well, you know what? The reason you run a 2-quarterback system is you believe you have 2 quarterbacks who can take you to the promised land. Ricky Ray, 9-2 as a starter last year, led the league in passing efficiency, and then you got a backup, Bart Hendricks out of Boise State. Excellent preseason, and a little bit of a different player, Chris, in the fact that he likes to scramble, where Ricky Ray is more of a drop-back passer.
Well, Canadian Eric Lapointe won the starting tailback job in Montreal, but he was hurt in Calgary, so we'll see a tandem of running backs, including Jay Graham and the aforementioned, and you want to say the name, Thunder Collins.
I love that name, but Jay Graham, who scored Montreal's only touchdown against Calgary earlier this week, 9 carries, 52 yards, as you say, the big touchdown. Both these backs over 6 feet tall, big backs. But the man, Thunder Collins, going to split some duty with them. And Thunder Collins says, you know what? I want to make a little noise on my own.
All right, let's get to it now. How about your Canadian Tire game notes?
Oh, come on. We saw what happened to the offensive line in Montreal last week. They've got to step it up. The O-line needs to protect Cavill, open holes for the running back. On defense, you know what? They're going to run Pringle. So set the tone early. Stuff the big man. For Edmonton on offense, hey, we're talking about Pringle, Mills, the running game. Don't forget you got a great group of receivers over there. And on defense, come on, baby. Pressure Cavill. Don't let him sit back there. Don't let him get comfortable, because if he gets in a rhythm, it's going to make for a long afternoon.
Game notes brought to you by Canadian Tire. Let's get started.
Well, as Chris mentioned, Eric Lapointe won't be playing today because of that sprained ankle. Eric, how long are you out for?
I should be out till next game. We have a break of 2 weeks between this game and the Saskatchewan. I should be able to play in Saskatchewan.
This has got to be very frustrating because you would have started your second straight game for the Owls had you been healthy.
It's really frustrating, especially playing against Edmonton, playing against Mike Pringle and Danny Machocha. But again, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's just get healthy for the next game.
With those 3 running backs gone, how do you like your chances of starting all season long for the Owls?
I just need to stay healthy because right now it's going really well. There's good backs in the team, and as long as we have a lot of depth, sharing the job with Jay Graham is a great feeling.
Eric, thanks for this. Chris?
Thank you, Steve. Just about set at Commonwealth as the Grey Cup rematch is ready to go. Don Matthews Alouettes, the only visiting team to win at Commonwealth Stadium last year, once in the regular season, once in the Cup. Tom Higgins' team beaten in the Grey Cup game, but he says the experience has deepened his team's resolve.
Well, the biggest thing, remember, they haven't beat them in regular season play either, and I think today's the day you want to get that monkey off your back.
There's Jay Graham. Donta Green also back. Sean Fleming kicks it off, and the Eskimos season underway, and Graham mishandles the football and has to get it back inside the 5. He won't get to the 10, and although the conditions are different, as in the Grey Cup game, Chris, it's a slippery turf. And there is Anthony Calvillo, who leads the Alouettes offense out. He was the Grey Cup MVP, but coming off what he described as one of his worst regular season games ever Tuesday in Calgary.
You know what? He takes the heat. That's what a quarterback does. He shoulders the load. You know, he only passed for 24 yards in the first half against Calgary, but did he rebound in the second half? Great second half, led that team to victory.
Anthony Calvillo, the All-Canadian quarterback in 2002. And he has 3 All-Canadian offensive linemen, led by Brian Chew, the top offensive lineman in the Canadian Football League in 2002. And they did a little soul-searching, I think, at halftime at McMahon Stadium in Calgary after surrendering 8 different sacks in the game, 6 in the first half. They are just having some trouble with the score clock here at Commonwealth.
You talk about the 8 sacks, but I mean, you got to give credit to Calgary as well. That front 4 was dominant. Joe Fleming, Maxey, they were all over the place. But also a lot of the sacks were a result of great coverage by the secondary of the Stampeders as well, what we like to call coverage sacks, where Calvillo just has to hang on to the football.
Well, Calvillo blamed himself for the play calls in the first half against Calgary, but I was interested in your conversation with Brian Chew, who suggested that Calvillo really adjusted his game plan in the second half to take a little heat off that offensive line. So we'll see how AC responds in his second start in 4 days. The only team a year ago to win in a short week was Montreal. And there's a pass to Kwame Cavill and a catch across the 10 to the 12-yard line. And a pickup of 4 to 5 yards.
Just a quick hitch to the short field. We see Cavill, Graham in the backfield, Coleman, who will line up all over the football field. The receiving crew, Copeland, Green, Cahoon, and Cavill, who just made that last reception. And the offensive line that we've talked a lot about, Chew, Lambert, Fleury, Fort, and OKK at left tackle.
Paul Lambert, the newcomer, who came over from Hamilton to replace Kevin Lefsrud, now in green and gold. 2nd down and 6. Calvillo with the pass, and it's complete near the 20 and then ripped out of the hands of Bruno Heppel. And let's see what the officials will rule, and they're saying it's a completion and Montreal football.
Well, Heppel coming, just dragging across the middle. Malcolm Frank, step for step, just right in the back pocket. Just going to come across the middle of your screen. You can see the tight coverage, and Malcolm Frank, number 10, tries to rip the ball out of Heppel, but of course, he's on the ground already. Good call by the official.
So Bruno Heppel, who will see spot duty as the fullback. And a rare completion to Heppel. Now it's Graham, and he's stacked up near the line of scrimmage, and Albert Reese led the charge for that revamped Eskimo front 4.
This is a good defense. Defensive line, Abdullah, Booth, Charbonneau, Alford, Payton. Reese will split duty in the inside. Powell, the middle linebacker. Mobley, Glenn Young getting a start at the weak side linebacker. Garrett moves over to safety. Brady Coleman, Frank, and Crutchfield at the cornerback.
And a lot of eyes on Glenn Young, 55, because of the surprise cut of Terry Ray late in training camp, 2nd and 10. Calvillo swings it out, and Graham, who played in a West Coast offense in the NFL, couldn't make the catch and brings up 3rd down.
Well, nice coverage there. Senior Mobley is right there step for step, so even if he had come up with the catch, Graham was going to be taken down immediately.
And it has rained most of the day here in Edmonton, and that turf and the football may be a little slippery.
But you know, you like what Montreal's doing early, and that is getting the ball to the receivers or the backs in the open field, trying to hopefully use the bad field conditions to their advantage.
Well, Matt Kellett was such a story on Tuesday night in Calgary. He averaged 48.9 yards a punt in his first game in Montreal colors, including a 73-yard single. And there is a former Alouette, Winston October, who did not play in the Grey Cup game.
Violation. Montreal, number 11, still 3rd down.
Alouettes didn't have the proper complement on the field and take a time count. But Kellett answered a lot of questions about the Montreal kicking game in his Alouette debut. Brad Collinson, the rookie, will be the long snapper. And Kellett just got it away. This will be Winston October in Alouette territory and driven back at the Montreal 47, a 38-yard punt for Matt Kellett. Well, Ricky Ray was one of the great stories of the 2002 season. Look at those numbers for the rookie quarterback who had the best pass rating efficiency in the Canadian Football League. The Eskimos had a powerful offense, and now it's been bolstered by none other than the 2-time MVP, and that's another dimension they get.
You know, and you just, as you see that picture, and he's looking across the line at his old teammates, you want to know what's going on in his mind right now, because this is where he wants. It's payback time. He wants to deliver a message.
Little steam coming out of that helmet. He has been anxiously awaiting this game. Eskimos start at the 47, and it will be Pringle straight ahead. And that's the only way he runs. And Mike Pringle, his return to the Eskimo offense with a pickup of close to 5 yards.
North-south, and he'll punish it. This is a good Edmonton offense. Ricky Ray, Pringle, the man, just carried the ball. Another great running back in Troy Mills at the fullback. Tucker Vaughn, Darrell Robinson, and a Herbie at wide receiver, and a good offensive line. Princeton, Comiskey, left route from Montreal last year. Morris and the vet Bruce Beaton at left tackle.
All Canadian up front, and here's a swing pass and a completion, and they'll be stopped short of the first down on the catch by Ed Hervey.
Well, again, another quick hitch to the short side of the field. Trying to get the ball in the receiver's hands. The defensive line gets over there in a hurry. Brown, Philly, and inside Stewart. Mark Megna, Motors never stops. Thompson, the big middle linebacker. Kevin Johnson. Strickland at the Sam linebacker, outside linebacker. Loftus, Miles Durden. Wayne Shaw and Omar Evans over from Saskatchewan at that cornerback position.
Well, flags started to fly after.
Necessary roughness, Edmonton, number 81, still 3rd down.
After the unpiling, Herbie got up, shoved somebody, and it will march them right out of field goal range. It may have been a 48-yard attempt by Sean Fleming, although the Eskimos working into the wind. And so back on the Eskimos side of half, and this is what happened. Just that
right
little
there,
shot at Tim Strickland.
Well, undisciplined.
So Fleming to punt. Donta Green awaiting the Eskimo kick. Inside his 10. Here's Green, cut down by Singor Mobley. The veteran linebacker, a 47-yard punt by Fleming, and a 7-yard return by the new special teams man of the Alouettes. And there's Jay Graham, who will handle the bulk of the running today, although Don Matthews told us yesterday that he and Thunder Collins will alternate at their own discretion.
Well, that's very unusual, because usually the offense coordinator will put it in and say, okay, put the other guy in. Right now, he's leaving it up to discretion of either back to say, okay, you take a couple reps, I'll take a couple. And that's the object is the same, though. Fresh legs in the backfield.
They start deep again at their own 17. Calvillo flushed, gets it away, and it skips in front of the intended receiver, Graham, incomplete.
Well, we talked about when the Boos get loose in the Alouette backfield early, and there he is, Dorian Boos, making his presence felt early on in this first quarter. Just going to keep working, keep working. Coming off the blocker. That's what you teach the defensive lineman. Never stop those legs. Keep driving toward the quarterback.
44 games in the National Football League, 3 years with the New York Jets. He ran a 4.49 in college at Washington State and returned punts. That's how athletic he is. Flag down. Mobley may have been offside. Calvillo out of the pocket and now hauled down short of the first down, but it looks like Mobley drew the flags.
Mobley may have got the flag, Chris, but I tell you once again, tremendous pressure by the front four of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, now it appears to be going against
Offside.
Montreal.
Montreal, number 80, decline. Third down.
Jermaine Copeland moved early for Montreal.
That's a nice job of the Eskimo defense, putting good pressure. And we talked about you cannot let Anthony Calvillo get into that comfort zone. And boy, I tell you, it looks like they're taking a page right out of the Stampeder book, coming after him early and hard.
So again, Winston October and Darrell Robinson, a rookie, are back for the Kellett punt. And again, it will be October. A good punt by Matt Kellett. A flag goes down as October is jarred. And another flag away from the play is also on the new natural grass at Commonwealth Stadium. Well, the Alouette offense in conference after two unsuccessful series.
Well, you can see Don Matthews over there right now talking to him. As you hear him say right there, he's telling Anthony Calvillo to line them up in the proper places right now. And that's what happens when you get a guy like Lapointe who goes out and you're going to replace him with newcomers. Sometimes there's those mistakes.
Holding was the call against Edmonton after a 53-yard punt, so they start at the 32. And here's a swing pass, Jason Tucker, and he is hauled down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it seems to be that both offenses, whether it's Montreal or Edmonton, the game plan is to get to the outside. Why, you ask? Because they're lining everybody inside the tackles right now, and the only open field is this to the outside.
So no gain on the play for Jason Tucker, who had 8 catches against the Alouettes in the Grey Cup game last November. 2nd and 10 and 6 receivers in the offense, and downfield Herbie, and he's jarred and separated from the football by William Loftus, the safety, and there is a flag in the Eskimo backfield.
Well, anytime that flag comes in the backfield, you can rest assured that 90 out of 100 times it's holding, but a nice job of Omar Evans staying with the man, taking him inside, and that's what you want out of your safety.
Edmonton, number 62, decline. Third down.
You want to talk about what a safety should do? That's exactly it, Chris. William Loftus sits in the middle, sees where the ball is going, and moves to the football, and basically tries to take off the receiver's head.
Bruce Beaton called for holding, the former Alouette, and Donta Green gets back to accept another punt from Sean Fleming. Not as deep a kick, and the ball on the ground. No yards will be the call against Edmonton, and Green skips out. And Donta Green could turn the corner. Mike Bradley trying to bring him down. Green still going, and Donta Green will go for the touchdown. And again, a pair of flags down are both for no yards. A 67-yard Donta Green punt return. With speculation that Keith Stokes might be ready to return to Montreal.
And you gotta love that too, Chris, because he says, you know what? I hear the rumors, I hear he's a good returner, but he says, I can do the job as well. There's evidence of that right there.
Way to run that thing deep up, man. Hey, way to roll, baby.
And wait a minute. They're still sorting it out and leaving the flags down at that end. So it looks like this punt return is not going to stand.
Just talking to Flory, one of the Montreal captains. Oh, this is a big break, Chris. What we thought was a touchdown, we thought they infringed on the 5 yards. Turns out to be something different.
Well, Ken Lazarick to sort things out, and it looks like a reprieve for Tom Higgins' squad. Well, Keith Stokes burned the Eskimos last year in the regular season.
No yards. Edmonton, number 68. Legal block. Montreal. First down.
Well, we are not apprised of the culprit. We're told downstairs it might be Sean
right in here,
Spender
you can see right there. That's the illegal block he's calling right there in the behind. That's a great job by the ref. You see him grabbing the flag right there. Dante Green does a nice job of getting out of that, taking it all away, all for naught.
So it wipes out the huge punt return, and now they'll have the end around to Chris Coleman, a newcomer to this offense that the Alouettes are so excited about. Kelvin Powell, the second-year middle linebacker, chased him down.
Well, Chris Coleman's a guy they expect bigger things from. They're not exactly happy the way he's performed so far. You know, he led NFL Europe in receptions last year. He played with the Titans in the NFL. They think he's a game breaker, but so far, he's just been in a bit of a fog, and he really can't break out of that.
They give Coleman 3 on that carry. Had a couple of drops that he was upset about in Calgary on Tuesday night. 2nd and 7 from the 41. And Calvillo looks far side, has a completion, and Cavill has the first down. The former Buffalo Bill with his second catch.
Well, just a nice job one-on-one. He's going against Malcolm Frank. Malcolm Frank's playing off at the cornerback. He just takes him back, comes back to the football. Nice protection out front. You can see him. He comes back to the football. Anytime you come back to the football, gives you an opportunity to catch that football, create separation from the defender.
So 1st and 10. Montreal at their own 51. Graham, and he stopped in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. And again, it's Kelvin Powell, who the Eskimos have been delighted with his progress in this, his second year.
Well, here's a guy last year that they would love to have had call the defense, but he was so excited, they couldn't understand what he was saying. So he never got a chance. This year he comes to camp, excellent camp, better condition, doesn't go at the flow, reads the back. He's not fooled by the pulling offensive lineman, makes a nice play in the backfield.
They said last year he was hyperventilating in the huddle, so they had to give someone else the duties. He says the game's slowing down for him. 2nd and 10, and here's a pass complete, and it's Ben Cahoon, the top Canadian in the Canadian Football League a year ago, with his first catch of the night.
Beautifully thrown ball by Cavillo. It all starts with a protection. Nice job of protection. He sits up there. He throws it right over the stretched hands of Malcolm Frank. And look at the concentration. Turns to catch the football. Ben Cahoon, knowing where the football is in the air. That's what separates a good receiver from a great receiver.
Last year, 76 catches, 1,076 yards. And 26 on that pickup. Here's Calvillo looking that side again and overthrows Kwame Cavill.
Well, Kwame Cavill attempting to get that pass a little bit too far for him, but again, working against Malcolm Frank. And you talk about game planning, and they look at film and they see weaknesses, what they consider weaknesses, or players that they can exploit. I'm a little surprised because Malcolm Frank's pretty tough, but they're going after him early in this football game.
You know, Montreal lost a lot of weapons. We've heard from Thomas Haskins, Pringles here.
Full yard, gentlemen. Give
Pat
him a full
Woodcock
yard.
goes to the NFL. Stokes gone as well, and yet they feel this core is as good receiving-wise and a little bit bigger. 2nd and 10. Calvillo had to get rid of it quickly, And he has a completion to Happel, but short of the first down.
And that's something you just can't buy. Cavillo sees the blitz coming, gets rid of the ball. Happel, nice job of changing the route, sliding out to the flat, picking up the catch, but not enough for a first down. But again, good execution against the Eskimo blitz. Bringing Glenn Young off the outside. Happel cuts his pattern off, takes it to the sideline. Cavillo right there. Nice job execution.
Well, he was perfect in Calgary Tuesday night. 5 for 5, a couple of clutch late kicks, and Matt Kellett is still perfect as he nails a 34-yard field goal, a flag down at the end of the play.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Edmonton number 10, first down.
Malcolm Frank roughing the kicker. They'll take the 3 points off the board on that cheap shot that gives Montreal a first down.
You know, there's smart football and there's dumb football. There's an example, people, of dumb football. That's selfish. That hurts your football team.
Unexpected from the 34-year-old veteran in that Eskimo secondary.
Maybe a little frustrated they keep going after him with the passing game.
And so instead of a 3-0 Montreal lead, still scoreless, under 5 minutes to go, first quarter, and a first down at the 13. Calvillo looking into the end zone, and an incompletion flag down as Jay Graham was matched up on former Alouette Glenn Young.
This is what you want to do when you get a big linebacker like Glenn Young, 6'3", 240 pounds. You want to get him in a mismatch situation. You want to release the back. That's exactly what Montreal does. They see it. They put Jay Graham out in the flat. He has to be covered. You can see right there. Glenn Young swats with his arm. Doesn't see the football. And as a result,
traction on the play. Ball was uncatchable. Incomplete pass. Second down.
Well, very lucky, because had that ball been able to be caught, that would have definitely been a flag. But because they deemed it uncatchable, because it went out of the park, basically, the flag is put back in the pocket, and we carry on.
So a break for Young, who was an Alouette in 2001, released by Don Matthews. And so it is 2nd and 10 at the 13 instead of 1st and goal at the 1. Calvillo with time, and a nice knock down there. Quincy Coleman with Ben Cahoon, the intended receiver.
Well, Ben Cahoon's going to come inside and then go back to the outside. But look at that, not fooled at all. Quincy Coleman playing the middle of the field. He sees Ben Cahoon going back. As soon as he makes the steps to go back to the outside of the football field, he's right there, puts the paw on the ball and knocks it down. Quincy Coleman, who we heard already, talked to the coaches, had an excellent preseason as well.
And so once again, Kellett nails the field goal, and it is 3-0 Montreal. You heard Sean Millington talk about Don Matthews, who despite a shaky start in Calgary, was happy with the way his team responded in the second half. He said the glass was half full when that game was over, despite the early problems. And Matt Kellett continues his perfect 2003 season. Mike Pringle sporting a new number as he chases the man who distinguished himself in number 34 as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider, George Reed.
Well, Mike Pringle comes in today only needing 93 yards to reach the 14,000-yard plateau.
2nd and 5, and a completion at the 45, and it should be a first down. Rick Walters with the catch.
Well, the KG veteran, knowing where the yardsticks are, getting just what he needs to pick up the first down and keep the Edmonton offense on the football field. A little chop blocking up front by the offensive line. That's the way to slow the rush down.
Rick Walters with the touchdown catch last November here in the big game. An Edmonton high school product. So the Eskimos will try to manufacture a scoring drive here, trailing by a field goal. The shovel pass inside, and Pringle hit at the 49-yard line. Well, he started the day 2,209 yards behind this man, the all-time leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, George Reed. And the styles quite similar.
Did you notice the height, stepping right there, the legs, look at the north-south, the shoulders, running over people? Very, very similar, Chris.
4 yards for Pringle. Early movement by Robert Brown. And we'll find out if he was drawn offside. And it is an offside Montreal. Mike has said he doesn't have the number of yards needed.
Offside, Montreal, number 94, still second down.
It was Brown who jumped, the former Eskimo. He doesn't have the number of yards needed, tacked up on the fridge. He doesn't think about it all the time. But it will come into sharper focus as the year goes on.
I loved his line. He said, you know what, I'm not getting another chance to go after George Reed's record. He said, I'm getting another chance to just play football. That's where he is. He's focused.
You could see those eyes. Ricky Ray will just plunge ahead on 2nd and 1. And as he reaches midfield, the Eskimos get a fresh set of downs.
Nice surge by the offensive line, getting underneath the defenders of the Alouettes, pushing them back, picking up that much-needed yard to keep the drive alive. And get a little confidence at the same time. Get a little rhythm offensively. Going to bring in the yardsticks. Measure this just to make sure.
Talk about Mike Pringle. He's familiar with a couple of guys on this offensive line. Bruce Beaton played there in 97 and 98 in Montreal. And there's the newcomer, Kevin Lefsrud, the Viking Alberta native who takes over at right guard. And there was a special ceremony for Kevin yesterday as the Alouette offensive line presented him with his Grey Cup ring from a year ago.
Well, you can take a look at the former Alouettes right now playing for Edmonton. Led off there, you can see Pringle and Charbonneau, Peyton, Lefsrud, Beaton, Benoit, October, Glenn Young. Big list, a lot of experience.
First down Edmonton, heat on Ray, and he did put a knee down, and play is stopped as Anwar Stewart came untouched and got to Ricky Ray.
Well, Anwar Stewart does a nice job of not going anywhere but straight up the field to the quarterback right there. Not influenced at all by the line pulling. You see the knee goes right down there. As soon as he goes down after it's being touched by Anwar Stewart, it is labeled a sack. Nice job by Stewart, 6'3", 244, third year in the CFL.
Played behind Reggie Lowe most of last year, takes over for Lowe as the starter in the front four this season. Loss of 7, 2nd and 17, and Ricky Ray buried there by the middle linebacker, Mark Thompson.
Well, Mark Thompson, who Coach Matthews said won't be a star in this league, he'll be a superstar. But look, this is slide protection. Everybody's just sliding that way. But the problem is your back or the lineman that's behind as you're sliding, you cannot create a gap. You create gaps to allow penetration. That's exactly what happened. They allowed Montreal in there. The result was a sack again.
Second sack of the early season for the rookie Thompson. And it's 3rd and 25, and Fleming punts the ball away. High, not deep. Green, and he's hammered, and the no yards flag goes down.
Well, Mobley said he's not taking a chance, he just runs him over. He knows, he saw what Dante Green did the last time he caught it. He says, I'll take no chance. No prisoners, here he comes. He's inside the 5 yards. There's the contact.
No yards, Edmonton, number 27, first down.
So they'll march that ball 15 yards ahead, and we'll join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. Next Saturday, the CFL on CBC. We move to Regina, where Danny Barrett and the Rough Riders will entertain Wally Bono, Dave Dickinson, and the BC Lions. Saskatchewan coming off a win, the BC Lions off a loss. That's next Saturday, the CFL on CBC.
And what a win it was for Saskatchewan in Toronto. Here's AC looking deep. Down the sidelines, Cavill with the catch.
Oh, I tell you, Chris, did you see the push-off, though, by the receiver? Kwame Cavill attempting to go up for that football, pushed off Malcolm Frank. And once again, we talked about this earlier in the quarter, they're going after Malcolm Frank. One-on-one covers, he just pushes off. You won't see it in that replay, but he actually pushes off and gets some separation. That allows him, as you see, Malcolm can't believe it. He can't believe the flag wasn't thrown. Boy, I tell you what, Kwame Cavill making a name for himself today, making the nice catches, but sometimes you got to be lucky to be good.
38 yards for Cavill. And it's first down inside the 20. Calvillo wide open, and Dante Green has Cahoon has the touchdown. Back-to-back completions, and Ben Cahoon takes it into the end zone for a Montreal major score, and Calvillo has his first touchdown pass of the year.
I got to tell you, that is just too easy. You see the safety up 23, Shannon Garrett. He's up tight. Ben Cahoon does drags across the middle, gets some separation from Shannon Garrett. Nice job of recognition by the quarterback, Cavill. Gives him the ball on the run. Cahoon does the rest, and that was a simple touchdown. Boy, I tell you what, Edmonton's going to have to toughen up, or it's going to be a long afternoon.
Came on the final play of the first quarter, and the Alouettes have a 10-point lead. Well, you're right, Ben Cahoon. Anthony Calvillo made that look easy as the Alouettes expand their lead.
Well, just take a look at this. It's a drag pattern. He's just going to come across the middle. So let's run it a little bit right now. You're going to see where he comes from right here. Now, freeze it right here. There's the man right there. That's Ben Cahoon. Now watch. He's just going to go over here, and you got separation. Let's run it, guys. You're going to see the separation he gets from the safety who gets picked by the will linebacker, in that case, Glenn Young. It's a nice throw, nice catch, nice touchdown. Way too easy. Edmonton, you got to toughen up and tighten up, or woo, it's going to get ugly.
Ben Cahoon's parents here to watch the Alberta doubleheader. And Winston October has the football across the 35, trying to kick it outside. And he's brought down at the 46-yard line by the kicker, Matt Kellett.
Well, you can see the first quarter stats right there favoring the Alouettes. 110 yards passing, obviously bolstered by the last touchdown reception by Cahoon. Net yards 112 to 6 for Edmonton. I mean, and you know what? And you throw the factor in that they got that punt return touchdown by Dante Green called back for an illegal blocker. It could be uglier right now.
So the Eskimos start at their own 47-yard line. And Ricky Ray is still in the game. We were told that Bart Hendricks would see first half action, but they want to get Ray going, and he gets Terry Vaughn going with his first catch of the day.
Well, and I think that's a smart move, Chris. You know what? Don't just pull Ricky Ray because the offense as a whole is struggling right now. Let him find a groove. That's the biggest thing, because it serves no purpose to pull Ricky Ray out right now.
Now Terry Vaughn, look at those numbers in his great career. 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Well, that's a CFL record right there.
Second straight All-Canadian season. And here is Darrell Robinson with flags down, and the Alouettes apparently offside. Tim Strickland, the leader of that defense, the man who makes the calls, got the full start.
Well, as a quarterback, you better start changing the cadence or the snap count. That's the way you catch an aggressive defense. They did just that time in 38. Tim Strickland, who calls the defense, anticipated the count that time. Unfortunately, anticipated incorrectly, and the flag is thrown.
Offside, Montreal 38, second down, repeat it.
He's just going to come right off there. You can see right there, he's offside. He anticipates that. We know that Pringle can run the ball. Let's take a look what he does when he's not carrying the football. This is a nice job of getting out there, recognizing it. That's great athletic ability to get over there, even with Strickland being offside.
So 2nd and 2 for the Eskimos. Give to the first man, that's Troy Mills. And he'll move the sticks.
You know, and I think this is a smart move. You know, they're anticipating Pringle carrying the ball all the time. You know what? Use Mills. Remember the Grey Cup? John Avery had the hamstring, couldn't play. They brought Mills in late in the game. He explodes for 87 yards and almost won in that football game.
Well, Troy Mills and Mike Pringle shared the backfield as members of the Sacramento Gold Miners. And Mills twice a 1,000-yard rusher in his own right. 1st and 10, here comes the blitz. Ray stands up and has Darrell Robinson. And he's pulled down by Wayne Shaw before he does any further damage. But it's a 21-yard pickup.
Chris, you want to make this pattern work. You want Darrell Robinson to get his hands on a football, then you better pick up the blitz up front. This is a nice job. Everybody picks up. Look at that come all the way across. Mike Pringle, you get an A on that block. That allowed Ricky Ray the time to find Darrell Robinson to come across like that. You're going to get one-on-one coverage. You want to get your receivers an opportunity, you got to pick it up.
And the Eskimos are excited about that 20-year-old wide receiver Robinson. There's another completion. Now down to the 25 for the other wideout, Ed Hervey.
Well, they say Darrell Robinson is a combination of the great receivers they have. They say he's got the speed of the Ed Hervey, but then he's a great route runner like a Jason Tucker. So that's a pretty big compliment.
And they have so many weapons at the receiver position, but we have not seen them in high gear yet. The Eskimos looking for their first points of the game. We've just passed the 3-minute mark of the second quarter. 2nd and 5. Ray on a roll, looking into the end zone. Ball, touchdown! Cheering at the newest establishment in Edmonton. It's called Terry Vaughn's.
Terry Vaughn's restaurant. Their patrons are standing out cheering, raising one to their hero and owner, number 3, Terry Vaughn. What a great job to get behind the coverage. Working one-on-one, you can see Reggie Dirt, little fake inside. That freezes the feet of Reggie Dirt, and he gets behind him and then puts Wayne Shaw, the cornerback, in a chase position. Nice job, but I tell you what, again, the offensive line slides, slide protection to the right. Ricky Ray sets up behind the slide, gets good protection, allows him to throw that ball deep, waits. This is a long developing play. Nice
Edmonton,
job.
number 81, after the play, penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
Well, the penalty is just a over-exuberance of one of his fans. He tried to jump. Yeah, his teammate tried to jump and congratulate Terry Vaughn. That's Ed Hervey, and he actually jumped into one of the Alouettes laps.
Apparently the Eskimo receivers don't quite have the choreography of the Winnipeg receivers. Extra point added by Sean Fleming. And the Eskimos have their first major score of 2003. Well, the Eskimos answer that major score by Montreal with the 25-yard touchdown strike from Ray to Vaughn.
Well, what is everybody doing? You want to beat a rush, you got to do slide protection. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to slide. And then the quarterback's going to find the safest spot to set up. There he does. Nice job, buys him some extra time. Beautifully thrown football behind the coverage. And another touchdown for a guy they call touchdown Terry Vaughn.
So the penalty to Hervey brings the kickoff back to the 25. And Donta Green from his 15. And he is lightning quick. There are flags, a couple in fact, negating another impressive Donta Green return. Well, he is Mr. Clutch. They call him 2nd and Vaughn here in Edmonton.
Very appropriate nickname. Nice job of just setting up there. And that's what a quarterback will do that's got a little experience. Remember, you know, Chris, Ricky Ray's got 1 year under his belt. He says, you know what, the defenses know about me, but I also, in turn, know about the defenses now a little bit. And that experience showed right there.
Yeah.
And you're right, Tom Higgins said, we are not going to.
Montreal, number 33, declined. Legal block. Montreal, number 4, first down.
Bell and Dorbelius both flagged on the play. Let's take a look at. There's Appel to your left. with the takedown.
Well, you know what, I got to tell you right now, Appel, that's a great block. When you can drive your guy down the ground like that and your helmet's on his numbers, that's not a flag. I'm sorry. Nice job. You can feel safe going to special teams meeting, Bruno.
So Calvillo and Ray trade touchdown tosses, and AC back to work. And there's a receiver, or a DB slipping, and a catch for Ben Cahoon.
You know, Ben Cahoon, not the fastest guy in the world, but I tell you what, does he run nice precision routes. Look at this, stops, comes back in, stops, goes back to the outside. Quincy Coleman loses his footing, turns it another easy pitch and catch from Calvillo to his favorite target so far, Ben Cahoon.
24 yards that time for Cahoon. And 3 catches, 68 yards in this first half. And now Calvillo hands it off. And there is Thunder Collins for the first time as a Canadian Football League running back.
Oh, you gotta love that name, Thunder Collins, the rookie from Nebraska.
He likes the name so much, he just wanted Thunder on his back instead of Collins. But the CFL said no.
Well, remember the back that played in that one league that was around for a long time ago, Hit Me or Hate Me or something like that.
He hate me. XFL fame. Calvillo gets a good bounce after mishandling the ball and then throws incomplete. And it'll be 3rd down.
I tell you, very, very lucky for the Eskimos, because I tell you what, he had his hands on the ball. Calvillo got the ball back up in his hands, but he still had Thunder Collins open. And again, it was in coverage with the Will linebacker, Glenn Young. He had a couple steps, just mishandles the snap. The ball's wet. Remember, there's some moisture on the football field. And he gets out there, and you can see 21 right there, 55 coming into your screen. He's got a couple steps still on the coverage by the Will linebacker.
Kellett checks back in.
Heads up.
Punt drives October back 5 extra yards. Now he'll try and turn it upfield and gets caught for a loss on the return.
No, that's what I was waiting for. That's what I said. You heard me say it.
10-7 Alouettes. Ricky Ray 7 for 8, 68 yards and a touchdown. And before the game, he talked about the chess match playing this Alouette defense.
I think with a team that's aggressive, you got to be aggressive too. You know, they're going to put pressure on us. That's what their whole, you know, philosophy is to bring an extra guy in and make you make some quick decisions and hopefully some bad ones. So if we can go out and be aggressive and just make plays, as me as a quarterback, I got to get it out fast and try and get it to my playmakers. You know, as long as we execute our game plan that we've put in, we should do all right.
They did all right on the last series, and flags fly as Mike Pringle tries to drive that pile.
Nice job again of changing the snap count by Ricky Ray, catching the Alouettes, making them jump offside.
This isn't exactly easing your way into the season, though, by
Offside, Montreal, number 44, first down repeated.
By having to face this Alouette defense.
But it's smart. It's smart football. You see all these guys lining up there. You know they're coming. You see the Mac linebacker coming back up. You know what? Slow down the count. Help your offensive line. Let them see who they have to block. It makes sense.
That was Kevin Johnson, the outside linebacker, who jumped early that time. And so it's 1st and 5 at the 15. And Pringle nailed in the backfield and driven back. And Kevin Johnson there.
Well, I tell you what, it's very, very difficult, even if you have a Mike Pringle in the backfield, to run the football when you have this many guys in the box. Too many guys. You can't account for everyone. You can see the penetration right there at the point of attack. Kevin Johnson's there. He's joined by Mark Megna and Strickland. You know what? When you get everybody in there, do what they did in the beginning. Get the ball to the outside. Spread the defense.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 6. And here they come, and they jumped early, or were they drawn this time?
You know what? I got to wonder. I thought I saw somebody on the left side of the offensive line jump a little bit, but might even got his own offensive line on that one. Have to take a wait on this puppy.
Hard to believe you would incriminate an offensive lineman when indeed
Offside, Montreal, number 15, Still second down.
You know what? That just shows you the quickness of the offensive linemen right there. They're so quick. I tell you what, they're so much better than when I played.
Speaking of quick, Adrian Archie was the culprit that time, and Don Matthews says he is quicker than James Quick Parker.
Well, I played against him, and that's awful quick. You don't get a moniker like Quick.
Here's Troy Mills turning up past the 30-yard line, and a first down for Edmonton.
I'll tell you, Troy Mills comes in for spot duty, but this guy, I really am a fan, a big fan of number 33. You know what? They wrote him off a couple years ago, said his career was over. He just keeps coming. He's always in tremendous shape. And look at the leg drive. Look at that. I mean, this is why the guy had 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons. That's just great determination on his part.
Troy will turn 37 on July the 1st. It's a first down for Edmonton. Ray just got it away.
Wow.
And it falls incomplete, and Reggie Durden of the Alouettes, closest man to that football.
Well, Ricky Ray may want to scoop up his kidneys and put them back in his chest cavity after that hit by Kevin Johnson. My Lord, did he get rocked? He just seems a spy, just comes around, finds the opening. Kevin Johnson just lambastes him. You know what? Your quarterback can't take those or that many shots if you expect him to last the entire football game. Whoa.
Second and 10. Didn't realize you were a medical expert. Here's Ray, and incomplete. Pass behind Jason Tucker. There is a flag on the field.
Chris, I like what they did that time. You know what? Again, what do I talk about? Get the quarterback to the outside.
Edmonton number 3, decline.
Terry Vaughn jumping the gun, but I like the fact that Ricky Ray gets to the outside, does a nice job. You know what? If you don't make that defense respect the outside, they're just going to come right off the tackles all day long. Get outside, you spread the defense, it opens up holes. Then if you want to run the ball inside, you got a better success rate.
So Matt Kellett has had the edge so far, but in this second quarter, the wind is at the back of veteran Sean Fleming. Donta Green awaits. That is 35. And Green bounced off that contact. Ball came loose, but the flag or the whistle had already gone. And it looked like a quick whistle.
Great job of Glenn Young getting down the field, making first contact. That's the way to get yourself back in a football game, big man. He trucked right down there.
Well, he had the initial collision, ended up with the ball. However, the whistle went early, and it's a break for the Alouettes, who appear to maintain possession. 10-7, Montreal here in the first half.
Major foul.
Well, you could hear Glenn Young's initial contact on Donta Green throughout the stadium. And I think, Chris, the officials were so shocked Green didn't go down.
You know what? If
they blew the whistle.
If that was a boxing match, they would have thrown the towel in. Donta Green's helmet was taken off his head almost.
And the Eskimos get called for a late hit, and the ball is into Edmonton territory at the 53. Thunder Collins is silenced. And Steve Charbonneau, the former Alouette, with the tackle. Well, these are the defections from the Grey Cup champions.
Well, they still have Ben Cahoon.
But Phillips, Haskins, Woodcock, and Stokes gone. Cahoon's made his presence felt
Stokes
today.
released just June 11th by Miami. Will he be resurfacing with the Alouettes? And, of course, Woodcock.
Pat Woodcock, the fine Canadian receiver, in the camp of the Washington Redskins. 2nd and 10, and Copeland off his one hand, incomplete.
Well, Copeland saw Senior Mobley coming over there. That was one of those things I'm just going to check up, slow down, put it back into first gear, because number 27 is looking to pencil me. Nice move of getting him froze, comes back in the middle. He just, oh, no, he sees him coming.
And Mobley has been a heat-seeking missile in this first half.
Well, since the loss of Terry Ray, Senior Mobley now the leader of that defense.
Kellett to punt it away on 3rd down. Rush on! Boos got a piece of it. October at his 25. And there are the flags on the play. The ball came loose. With October with it, and the penalty coming up against Montreal. Just a 29-yard punt. The Eskimos thought they might get one.
Well, they touched the hands. That's what the ref. You're going to see him touch his hands on his hand right there. Contact, contact. That's what he's signaling. The fact that Dorian Boos had his hands on the football as it came off the foot of Kellett.
No yards. Montreal, number 19. First down.
That's a nice call by Ken Lazarick.
So Boos making his presence felt in his first CFL game, and now we see Bart Hendricks at the controls, the number 2 Eskimo quarterback, and he has an ability to run with the ball. He dumps it off, and here's Jason Tucker up to the 45-yard line before he is drilled. But Bart Hendricks had an impressive preseason, and the Eskimos are extremely high on their number 2 man.
11 for 15 last exhibition game, 119 and just 2 touchdowns. That's not a bad 2 quarters of work. But again, you know what? I know I'm reiterating and repeating myself, but the fact is, they're attacking the outside. If Montreal wants to line everybody inside, get the ball to the receiver on the outside. It's a nice job.
Gain of 17, first down. That was the first CFL completion for Bart Hendricks, and now Pringle stacked up again behind the line of scrimmage. Kevin Johnson and Adriano Belli.
Well, Pringle's having a little rough go right now running the football, and I think that maybe do a little bit, maybe look at that shovel pass. You know, the Montreal defense is, tying their ears back, trying to get to the quarterbacks. It's a perfect opportunity. Let him come up the field a little bit and then pitch it between them and let Pringle run with it.
Mike Pringle has been limited. 5 carries, 10 yards. 2nd and 10. Hendricks to roll left. And he'll pull it down. And he's down at the 49. Kevin Johnson, Adrian Archie met him there, short of the first down.
Well, you talked about the 2 different styles. You got Ricky Ray, more of a drop-back passer, basically rolls from tackle to tackle. Bart Hendricks, he just wants to take off with the football. Nothing there, smart decision. Looks, he checks over, no, I'm not going to force the situation. I'm going to tuck the ball, pick up something positive. That's a good decision by the second-year pivot.
So it's 3rd and 5. And Donta Green awaits another punt from Sean Fleming. Off the side of his foot. It'll bounce down inside the 15. And Green taken out, and another flag, so a pair of markers to sort out as we join Steve Armitage.
Regina, are you ready for this? Next Saturday, we take the CFL on CBC to Regina, where the Rough Riders will look for their 2nd win of the young season against Dave Dickinson and the BC Lions. The Lions and Rough Riders next Saturday, the CFL on CBC.
And Danny Barrett with reason to smile after those 2 touchdowns in the final minute.
How about Corey Grant? Talked about him, the speedster. Gonna have a breakout season. That's the way to do it. Come back in the last quarter like that, scored 2 touchdowns to win the game for Saskatchewan. And Nealon Green redeeming himself.
Donnie Brady was called for no yards, but there was a Montreal holding penalty. And so the ball is marched back to the 9-yard line. There's Alfred Payton. He's been quiet so far in this first half. Calvillo rolling right. Has a lot of time, looking downfield. Jump ball incomplete. Shannon Garrett in coverage. And Ben Cahoon, the intended receiver. Under 3 minutes to go, first half at Commonwealth.
There's a guy on you, right?
Coming up at halftime, the CBC Playbook with Chris Walby, who apparently is going to sub as a quarterback this year, introduce some plays from his playbooks. Speaking of quarterbacks, Tom Wilkinson featured in A History of Excellence, and we'll hear from Brian, Darren, Greg, and Sean in our CBC souped-up studio down there on the sidelines. Pretty impressive digs. 2nd and 10, and you can hear the Commonwealth Stadium crowd urging the D. And that ball falls incomplete. Kwame Cavill, the intended receiver, and Malcolm Frank lost his footing, but the pass sailed high.
Well, that's what Edmonton had to do defensively, was stop the Alouettes from moving the chains. With 2:48 left, it gives their offense potentially great field possession.
Kellett's had a good day, but he's punting into the wind. And the Eskimos should get the football.
I remember Dorian Boos almost blocked the last one. And he's lined up over the snapper, the center.
And that is the rookie, Brad Collinson, out of Concordia. Long count, and Kellett is going to concede the safety. So a pair of points conceded, and it's now 10-9. So Don Matthews elects to give up 2 and then kick it off to...
That's a smart move, and that's, you know what, that's what makes Don Matthews as successful as he is making the right decision at the right time. And right there, as you say, Kellett going to kick into the wind. You got big Dorian Boos who tipped the ball last time. I mean, now you get to kick off, and you start Edmonton, you know, in not as good a field position offensively.
You can tell they tried to draw the Eskimos offside. That didn't work, and they concede the 2 points. The Eskimos would have, in all likelihood, had the ball in field goal range right away, and instead now kick it off. 2 minutes, 41 seconds remaining in this first half. And Winston October from his 15. October trying to turn the corner, up across the 40. Sean Spender in on the tackle for the Alouettes. So Bart Hendricks got a series, but now it appears that Ricky Ray will come back in.
Ricky Ray back in. Nice job on that previous play of special teams of forming the wall of blockers, allowing Winston October to get to the outside to pick up 10 to 15 extra yards. Nice job.
So a 1-point game as the Eskimos take over at their 41. Pringle up to the 45.
Kevin Johnson just sliding again inside from that will linebacker position, making the play again. Pringle sees this, trying to get back outside, sees a hole backside, but the penetration by Kevin Johnson puts a stop to that.
Tough defense to run against. In fact, no running back had a 100-yard game against Montreal last year. Looks like the Alouettes jumped again. Pringle, a receiver, and he has the catch near midfield.
Pringle, who's not known for catching the football, nice job of getting it, sneaking out of the backfield, over the middle. Once again, I believe that Ricky Ray will cause the Alouettes to jump offside. They'll have to make a decision. I think there's no decision here. Take the first down.
Offside, Montreal 38, declined. First down.
Tim Strickland jumped. Pringle's 10-yard
nice
catch moves
job,
the sticks.
Chris. Exactly what you want to do. Create a little off balance on that pass rush of the Alouette defense.
Under 2 minutes remaining in this first half. And that pass pass falls incomplete. Baron Miles was locked up with Ed Hervey, the intended receiver. And there is Baron Miles, a 3-time All-Canadian and the top defensive player in the Eastern Division a year ago.
Well, he just does a nice job. You can see him right there watching him all the way, turns to face the quarterback. Ed Hervey has no chance to try and come underneath of Baron Miles to make that catch. That's just great positioning by Baron Miles.
So it's 2nd and 10 at the Edmonton 54. Darrell Robinson, and he swarmed and nailed right at the line of scrimmage. And the speedy defensive end, Mark Megna, was in the neighborhood, and they forced the Eskimos into a punting situation.
Mark Megna, nice job of coming underneath the potential blockers to make that play. Just gonna be a little hitch pass, throw it to your receiver. He's gonna try and come inside the blockers now, but look at 54. 54 gets underneath the blockers and brings down Darrell Robinson before he can get there and into the open field.
So much speed at every position on that Montreal defense. End over end punt, and again Green found a seam and gets it up to the 28-yard line. 42-yard punt, and this Montreal defense continues to be stingy.
Well, you can tell they just come up. They're not going to fool you. They don't do anything fancy. They're just going to come after you time and time again. It's a high risk, high reward type of defense. We risk the fact that we can get to you before you can get the reward. And for the most part of this afternoon, they've done just that.
We'll go one more series, lad. We got it.
And this is what they did a year ago, leading in those categories.
Big thing right there from that stat, 9 of 12 returners to the defense.
Here's Calvillo being chased down by Dorian Boos, and he'll step out of bounds just across the 30. So a short gain for Calvillo.
Secondary of the Eskimos, wrapping up all the potential receivers of the Alouettes, not allowing Anthony Calvillo to find one downfield. Good protection from this offensive line. After a little bit of a shaky start in the first quarter, they are affording Anthony Calvillo the proper time to at least look downfield without being harassed.
There's Brian Chu, a Washington State grad, and he's up against an old teammate, Dorian Boos. And this time, the Eskimos get to the quarterback. And Alfred Payton finished it off.
Well, there's a flag down. They're going to call holding on it as well, but just when I put the compliment
holding, Montreal 68, decline
to the big boys, I put the curse on them.
Yes, it was Brian Chu, and Alfred Payton celebrates sack number 149 of his CFL career.
Well, Glenn Young got that all started by coming around the outside. You can see Alfred Payton right there, so close to the leader, Grover Covington.
It should happen this year. He had 16 quarterback sacks a season ago.
Oh, and he's conscious of it. We talked to him, and he knows how many he needs, so he's excited.
He's got it on the fridge door.
Oh, he's on the, yeah. Mike Pringle may not tell you that, but I tell you what, Alfred Payton will tell you. Oh yeah, I'm counting them down.
He had 52 of them as a Montreal Alouette. So the Eskimos will get the ball back with some time here late in the first half. Kellett an extra step, but gets away a good punt. And it'll sail out of bounds, and they're going to spot it at the Edmonton 53.
That is a great kick at a pressured time of the game, when you know that the Eskimos potentially can get great field position if they get a good return. Matt Kellett, wonderful job of putting that out of bounds.
Well, again, Boos providing the heat right up the gut. So 66 seconds remaining in this first half, a 1-point game. The Alouettes with the lead. And Ricky Ray trying to change that. Got it away quickly. Terry Vaughn And Vaughn lost the helmet and still lunges forward for an extra yard or two. Wayne Shaw, William Loftus in on the tackle.
Quick release, know where I'm going to go, see the blitz, get it out there, put it in the hands of Terry Vaughn. Watch the determination, the toughness of Terry Vaughn. He knows he's going to get hit. He still goes. Look, he shakes head off. I don't need my helmet. Still going to dive for extra yardage.
So Vaughn comes out after the 6-yard pickup. 2nd and 4. And they'll swing it to the near side. Jason Tucker trying to get outside, and they won't let him turn it upfield. He'll be stopped short of the first down.
Well, I think Jason Tucker, and it's easy to say from up here, should have turned that thing up north. Just go. Don't try to take it to the sideline. Don't try and outrun the blocker. See right here now, turn it up, turn it up. There's a blocker there. Now he tries to hesitate and get outside. The block was set. Shaw was blocked to the outside. Go inside the block.
And again, the safety, William Loftus, there to make sure he didn't turn it upfield. So the Eskimos offense stymied on a couple of possessions late in this first half with a chance to take the lead.
Heads up.
Great kick by Fleming. Green steps out of the end zone with a great move, and he'll run right up the sidelines. Dante Green still going, and Fleming will have to slow him up. He's still going, and Mike Bradley finally catches him from behind. Well, Dante Green looked like he did well just to get out of the end zone, and he almost took another to the end zone. And this time, there were no flags.
He slips in the end zone. He's going to tightrope the sideline. But, oh, you go back a bit, it looks like it almost looks like he steps right there. Right there, that's on the sideline.
I did think he was offside or out of bounds, and you can hear the Eskimos arguing the case.
Yeah, of course we have the benefit of replay. Cameraman Johnny on the spot with that one, but as we can tell, he did step out. But to no avail, as they'll start an excellent field position.
And Sean Spender, the Brantford native, shaken up on the play. So an 86-yard punt return by Dante Green. Remember, in the first quarter, he had a punt return for a touchdown, negated by a penalty. And let's take one more look and see if...
It's really difficult to tell when that's the foot you're looking at right there, and then he comes back in, and if that's the foot they're calling from this angle, from the other angle, it definitely looked like he stepped on the line, but from this angle, it looks like he did a great job of tightrope.
And the official was in position. You heard the Eskimo bench arguing the case, but this little fire plug, Dante Green, who is listed at 5'7", that might be generous.
Up with the line, we talked to Ben Cahoon. I said, what's the big thing about Dante Green? He said, you want to know the big thing? I said, yeah, what's the big thing? He goes, his legs. Well, we're seeing great example of his leg power there. Boy, he just tight ropes and breaks tackles.
Well, maybe this is why Don Matthews was happy to shut me down yesterday when I asked about Keith Stokes.
No, I liked when he said, what kind of dog do you think I have?
First down, Calvillo in the flat. Bruno Appel has another catch. And that's his third of the first half. So you talk about throwing some wrinkles in. Appel not known as a receiver.
But he slides out to the flat, and he's going to be covered by the linebackers into the game at this time. Sheldon Benoit gets a mismatch. Benoit plays him to the inside, lets him get to the outside. Appel, as you say, sometimes they just forget. You know, when you're thought of as the forgotten man in the offense, you don't get that respect, and they'll let you go. We don't have to cover that guy. They better start. That's his third catch, as you say.
17 yards. The Alouettes used their timeout with 17 seconds remaining in the first half of play. And now Appel will check out, and Dante Green is into the Montreal offense.
A little bit more speed.
And the Eskimo D digs in. First and goal from the 7. Calvillo into the corner, and a flag flies. Intended for Cahoon.
Well, working against Shannon Garrett, and this will be interesting. Shannon Garrett had lost his footing in the back of the end zone. To the left of your screen. Just throws it over.
Edmonton number 23.
And you can see 23 has fallen in that replay. Little contact before that.
It was as if the slip just brought him into Cahoon and bumped him enough to.
Those are one of those incidental ones that you don't mean to do, but the conditions kind of carry you into it.
And now first and goal from the 1. Graham over the top, touchdown, but a flag is down. And a couple of flags, one on either side of the field. So,
well, usually it's an offside by the defense. They're encroaching on that 1 yard.
Offside, Edmonton 26, declined.
And it is a touchdown for Jake Graham, his 2nd of the year. And so when it looked like the Eskimos had opportunities to take the lead late in the first half, it's the big punt return by Dante Green, a pass interference call, and then the 1 yard plunge. And it will be the Alouettes taking an 8-point lead to the dressing room at halftime.
Well, just a simple dive play. Jay Graham, 22, is just going to go over the left side, sees it, cuts back. That's what a good back is taught to do. Find the opening. It may be programmed to go to the left or drawn up to go to the left, but if you see a hole, go to it. He does a nice job of going over there and picking up a first down and, you know, breaking the game open a little bit. It was getting tight there. Once again, they've opened up an 8-point lead.
Short scoring drive after the long punt return. Jay Graham, 5 years in the National Football League with Green Bay, Seattle, and Baltimore. 52 yards against Calgary. Eric Lapointe in that game averaged 9.4 yards on his carries. So they're not going to rely on the running game, but 15 to 18 carries a game will complement.
The thing is, Eric Lapointe will be back next week, and he'll be back in that backfield.
Kellett to Squibbit, and Darrell Robinson to bring it back. And Darrell Robinson kicks it outside. And he is brought down at the 51-yard line with no time left on the clock. 26 yards on the return, and we're through 30 minutes of football here at Commonwealth Stadium. And for the most part, a defensive duel as we join Steve Armitage.
Thank you very much, Chris. Don, it looks as if you found a good one in Dante Green, and I don't think he was in your plans at training camp, was he?
No, Dante was a guy we brought up a little bit late because we weren't happy with the returners we had. Actually, we had a returner get hurt, and we had to send him home, and Dante came up, and that was certainly a great individual effort on his part.
Assess your team's overall performance in that first half.
Well, defensively, we're just playing like we play defensively. This is Alouette defense that we're playing. I think AC is doing a masterful job of moving it around and moving the ball, but we've got to get a little more consistent offensively and get some more points.
Any concerns about fatigue in this your second game in 5 days?
We have no reason to do poorly, none whatsoever.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. The Montreal Alouettes and Don Matthews head to the room with an 8-point lead at halftime, 17-9 over the Eskimos.
CBC Playbook with Chris Walby.
Hey, you want to be successful in any football game, you got to run the football. Attack the outside. One of the best ways is the toss play. Now, it all starts off, we're going to run trips. What that means is the backslide slot's going to come over here. That's going to bring the half. That's trips, 3 receivers. Big thing, fullbacks. Always got the outside guy line of scrimmage. That's the full right there, Will linebacker. He locks up with him. Uncovered guard's going to pull around and find anything open. That's going to be the scraping Mac. The running back gets the ball and baby. He's home free to the outside. That's the way to run the toss.
Why do we bring the third receiver all the way to the other side of the field?
Good question, Cody. The biggest thing is you get 3 receivers over here, you have 1 less defender over there. So bring them, get them away from the play. That allows the running back to get outside and have 1 less guy to worry about from the defensive point of view. Ready, break! The key to this play is not allowing penetration at the point of contact. With great blocking and a quick running back, you should be able to pick up a lot of real estate. For any pass to be successful, you have to have the offensive line and fullback on the same page. The uncovered guard, number 63 in this case, must pull around for the scraping middle linebacker, and the lead fullback, number 44, is responsible for the outside guy, the will linebacker. Result, the toss succeeds, another first down. Listen up, you have got to run the football. It is the most fundamental aspect of the game. Listen, if your team is built on speed, the toss is a great way to pick up some valuable real estate. Hey, we'll see you next time.
The CFL, a history of excellence.
It was August the 19th of 1974, just about 100 meters from where I'm sitting, the old Clark Stadium. Tom Wilkinson accomplishing a feat no other quarterback had ever done before, finishing the game, completing over 90% of his passes. Matched only once by Danny McManus, this 5-time Grey Cup champion went on to win his first and only Shenley Award that year, beginning arguably one of the great dynasties in the history of sport. Halftime on a wet, cool afternoon, or now evening here in Edmonton, and the Eskimos trail by a score of 17-9 with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium. We talked, or Chris Walby talked about running being so important. There wasn't much running in this football game. Mike Pringle not a factor. Some dumb penalties by veteran players in a sloppy first quarter. They settled down in the second quarter. Let's show our highlights, and we begin with that reception by Cavill for Montreal. And you two guys disagree on this. Darren, you take it first.
Well, it's the first real big play of the first half. Anthony's just dropping back and throwing the ball up. It's like a rebound in basketball. And the receiver does a good job here. He outjumps the defender and grabs the rebound.
Here's a different angle. You see him jab him up in his chest. That's what's called a push-off.
You're probably getting the rebound.
You're probably
Greg.
looking at the best push-offer in CFL history right here. But you know what? There's hand fighting that goes on. I'm not going to say there's not, but you know it's got to be fair out there.
All right, Sean. Let's look at that Ben Cahoon touchdown that followed that reception by Cavill, and we'll see a pick here. A smart play by Cahoon.
Oh, this is a veteran play by Cahoon. You see him coming across the formation. We're going to see him running across just in a minute here. And he rubs his defender off on the referee. That's brilliant. He manages to get himself wide open, goes in for the touchdown, sort of like how fellow panelist Darren Flutie used to do with the goalpost back in the day.
It seems like every time I got open, there was some trick, Brian. What is it? Did I do anything on my own?
Yeah. All right. Terry Vaughn was open. Let's have a look at the Edmonton touchdown. Ricky Ray to Terry Vaughn, and take us through it, Darren.
Well, what Terry does, which is great, is he wins at the line of scrimmage. You really can't see it on this clip, but he's very patient at the line of scrimmage, and that's great for all receivers. Because if you win at the line of scrimmage, you're going to win in the end. And that's he has very quick feet, and he wins at the line, beats him at the line, and goes on and runs a corner route.
I mentioned dumb penalties. One of them negated a 67-yard punt return by Dante Green in the first quarter, but Dante Green with a magnificent punt return in the second quarter, Sean.
Dante Green has been amazing. Like you mentioned, the first one that got negated, and we see him coming back here again. Here, this place should be dead. He should have been down in the end zone, but somehow he manages to tightrope down the sidelines, keeps going, and right about here, that monkey just jumps on his back, and it's just, oh boy, okay, and he goes down. I mean, he should have been able to get all the way, but that was a fantastic run.
And he's thinking about Keith Stokes, who might be coming back from the National Football League.
Exactly, but Keith is going to have a lot of competition in Dante. He's done a great job for Montreal so far today.
Halftime and the Alouettes with an 8-point lead. That's our halftime show. Don't forget, we have a post-game show. We will have a post-game show from here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Coming up, the second half between the Edmonton Eskimos and the Montreal Alouettes. You're watching the CFL on CBC, and yes, you made some good catches.
The theme in Edmonton this year, defend the turf, but right now the Alouettes staking their claim, an 8-point lead at 17-9 as we join Steve Armitage.
Tom Higgins, you dug yourself a bit of a hole as we begin this second half. What do you have to do to get out of it?
quit hurting ourselves first. We can't be taking penalties. We got to make sure when we cover, we cover. We got to kick the ball out of bounds when we're told to kick the ball out of bounds. We'll see a better half of football by the Edmonton Eskimos.
We saw you make a quarterback change very briefly in that first half. Are we likely to see more of that? It seemed to give your team a bit of a lift.
It's a possibility. Again, it's just a gut feel, and we definitely want to have Bart play some snaps.
Tom, good luck at second half.
Thank you.
Well, the biggest story, 184 punt return yards for Donta Green in that first half. A gray June day here in the Alberta capital. And we are awaiting a flyby of 2 F-18s from Cold Lake.
Yeah, so is Christmas.
Well, they made an appearance in the Grey Cup game last year, shook my partner up, so we thought we'd keep him on his toes here this afternoon in Edmonton. As Matt Kellett kicks it off, and the second half is underway with Winston October. And here's October finding a little room up near the 50-yard line as we check the halftime numbers.
We can tell by the score it's a pretty even game right now. 10-7 first downs, net yards 150, favoring the Alouettes. Possession, little favorite Eskimos, but the big one is the penalties. And Coach Higgins talked about that at halftime. You know what? 12 penalties for almost 100 yards by the Eskimos. You can't have that and win football games. That's just not going to work.
It's a lot like last year's Grey Cup game, I think, including the field conditions. It's a little bit slick and seems to be advantage defense so far. Ricky Ray looking deep, looking for Darrell Robinson. And a stride too far was the pass from the sophomore quarterback.
I almost think that Darrell Robinson lost his football. I mean, the sun's not out, but he stopped. He kind of slowed down, then found the football again, and then tried to accelerate. And by that time, it was too late, and the ball was overthrown. You know what? I think Ricky Ray will take him in a huddle and just say, you know what? Keep running. If I underthrow you, it's my fault. But he just stops, and then he kind of tries to accelerate late, and I think that's the problem with that attempt by Ray to Darrell Robinson.
Working against Wayne Shaw. 2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz, and they've got Ricky Ray back inside the 35-yard line. Adriano Belli. Robert Brown celebrating.
Good pressure by the interior of the Alouette defensive line. Belli and Brown just keep working, keep working. You see 78 comes around there, and his partner in crime, Rob Brown, finishes him off and brings him down to the ground for the 3rd sack of the afternoon.
Brown had 8 quarterback sacks last year, 1 in the Grey Cup game. He's the former Eskimo. And so that pressure Montreal defense.
Come on, let's get down.
Great Sean Fleming punt. Here's Green. Adding to his numbers. Donta Green, another big return, but another flag. Richard Carey, the rookie out of St. Francis Xavier, I believe, is going to draw this flag.
Well, Carey may be performing Harry Carey.
Montreal, number 23, first down.
You called it, Chris. Carey. Just going to get it. Right there, he's at the top. He just pushes him. Referee right there. The line judge throws the flag.
Otherwise, Donta Green's doing a pretty good Gizmo Williams impersonation here.
Well, you take the other one that he returned for 67 yards. And this one, we're talking about 100 yards that he had to put back in.
He had 154 all-purpose yards in Calgary, but far superior day here. And now Ben Cahoon gets outside and finally forced out of touch on the Edmonton side of center field.
Well, he does the same thing. Cahoon loves to come inside, freeze, and then go back to the outside. We take a look at Cavill's passing chart. Right inside the 10-yard line, 3 for 7, 1 for 2. We move into the middle of the football field, 2 for 4 for 26 yards. He's gone deep twice. The one big one to Cavill, but you can see right there, that's what you got to do. You got to stretch the defense.
So Ben Cahoon has his 4th catch of the day. Albert Reese in the Eskimos defense tries to dig in. Calvillo with some rhythm, and now looking downfield, Copeland couldn't reel it in. Fabian Burke in coverage.
That's a nice job. The offensive line, wonderful job of pulling a guard out, buying Cavill just a little extra time to try and get that big completion to Copeland just past the outstretched fingertips.
So Fabian Burke in place of Quincy Coleman at the moment. And it's 2nd and 10 for Calvillo. Quick hitter, Coleman. And he'll be stopped short of the first down as Darryl Crutchfield clutching on to Coleman and limiting the gain.
Well, you know, they're not going to pick up a first down here, but you know what? Cavill is attacking the Eskimo defense deep. What he does now is he gets the defenders, the defensive backs, to turn and run with the receivers. Then he comes back short, and that's how you make the short game work, because now they have to respect the deep threat. They sit back, they get corner hills, they give you a little space, and it makes the underneath game work. Edmonton, on the other hand, has not attempted to go deep enough, I don't think.
3rd and 3 here, and Kellett will be punting into the wind. Alouettes won the toss, deferred, and they have elected to take the wind advantage in the 4th quarter. Big rush again. A flag downfield, but not where Boose made contact.
But this is going to be an interesting call, Chris, because
Boose making sure it's not him, although he fell into the kicker. We'll sort it out and be back at Commonwealth early in the 3rd quarter. Former Alouette middle linebacker Sheldon Benoit, the recipient of a holding penalty.
Oh, yeah, you talk about this. Don't hurt yourself. I mean, you can see the pressure from Dorian Boose. He's going to come. He's going to roll in, but he was pushed into the kicker, so there's no flag there. But then, take a look right here. There is the hold right there. That's the hold that they're talking about. And that's Sheldon Benoit. Do a little grappling match there, and again, another penalty, the 13th. For the Eskimos so far this game.
Worst starting position of the game for the Eskimos at their own 7. Ricky Ray overthrowing Ed Hervey, incomplete, and we'll check his chart through 30 minutes of play.
Well, you can see right now, there he is. A lot of underneath. He just attempted. You saw a click over there, 6 and 9. A lot of underneath thing right there. Right now we're looking at 9 of 12 underneath, 10 yards and shorter. He's gone deep 4 times. I think you really have to stretch the defense. You want to make the underneath game work, you got to go deep and make them respect that ball.
Alouette defense may pin their ears back here with Ray and the Eskimos backed up. He got it away quickly, a completion, and Terry Vaughn broke a tackle, and great second effort for a first down.
We've seen Terry Vaughn do this the last time. You know, he gets hit. You know what? You need the rest of the team to feed off this guy. This is how tough this guy is in the middle. He's not scared to take a hit. Again, Montreal's defense just sits back. You know what they say? We're going to give you the underneath stuff. Short. Then we're going to come up and make a tackle. Terry Vaughn does it all on his own by breaking the initial tackle and picking up the first down.
94 catches last year for Vaughn. His 3rd straight 90-plus catch season. And it gets the Eskimos a little breathing room. That cadence change drew the Alouettes offside, incomplete off Vaughn's fingertips with markers down.
Well, once again, I believe they've trapped Tim Strickland on the offside.
Offside, Montreal, number 38, first down repeated.
Just right there, and that's all they're going to do. Change the cadence up. He's anticipating, and once again getting caught.
So it'll be 1st and 5 from the Edmonton 25. And they swing it out, incomplete. And again, trying that pass for Jason Tucker.
Just a little hitch pass again, combined with the offensive lineman sliding to the right. Just going to slide around Pringle from the backfield, get a little start, get out to the flat. Can't come up with the football. That's one of the cases where I really think the receiver has to know where the ball is. You have to see the ball, move in.
There's Danny Machocha, the former Alouette offensive coordinator, in his second year now, calling the plays for the Edmonton Eskimos. 2nd and 5, and once again, they jump, and Adriano Belli is going to get tagged with an extra penalty.
Well, frustrated that he jumped offside, Chris, but then throwing the quarterback down, I mean, that's just giving you 15 yards of free real estate. Now remember, in 2 regular season games played last year between these teams, they combined for over 500 yards in penalties.
Offside, Montreal, number 78. Roughing the passer, Montreal, number 78. First down.
20 yards is the damage. It's the first down for the Eskimos.
Well, that is a huge mental gaffe by Belli that
field
gives
position.
The Eskimos
Let's go, D!
great.
Let's go, D!
Remember, they started at their 7, now they're up at the 45. So with the help of penalties, 38 yards so far on the drive, and now Mike Pringle. And they just can't get the running game in gear.
Well, Mike Pringle with his 6th carry of the afternoon, again finding tough sledding between the tackles. 13 rushing yards, but again, only his 6th carry. He's used to carrying it 20 to 25 times. He talked about it earlier. The fact is, you know, he realizes he's only one cog in this machine with the receiving crew they have here in Edmonton.
Not much question, he won't see the ball like he did in his prime in Montreal. At 4 that time, it's 2nd and 6. A quick hitter, but it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. KJ Kevin Johnson got his hand on the football.
You have to understand this. I mean, you're bringing everybody over, and they keep trying to go to the side. I understand that, but if you're going to go to the hitch, that's one thing. But if you're going to try and throw this way, right over, they're going to get their hands up. And as you can see, Kevin Johnson, he sees that. He's not even coming. He's just going to put his hands up. This is one of those times when you have to go deep. Put it up, let one of your receivers go and run underneath the football.
So Sean Fleming is in, and cue Donta Green once again. Trying to angle it away from him, and that's the best idea. Don't let him get his hands on the football. He's done enough damage against the Eskimos. There's Fabian Burke now in the defensive backfield for the Edmonton Eskimos. Quincy Coleman, we have yet to get a report on, but he's not on the Edmonton bench. And Bart Hendricks at that Eskimo sideline, starting to warm up and giving us perhaps an indication that he will get the next series for the Eskimos. But right now, Anthony Calvillo is at the controls for the Alouettes, and looking downfield, Copeland up in the air, and a circus catch by Jermaine Copeland at the Edmonton 40.
Well, we're going against Fabian Burke, who's in place of Quincy Coleman. One-on-one coverage across the field, just taking it to the side. But you know what, again, we talked about this, and I'm beating it to death, but Calvillo is sitting back there and throwing deep. This is a nice job. Bounces off the head of Burke's helmet. Copeland with great concentration to come out with that circus catch.
Led the XFL 1 year in receiving. He had 3 catches and a touchdown in the Grey Cup game. First down, it's gun to Cahoon, and Ben Cahoon drops the ball. Alouettes get back on it at the 22.
Well, Anthony Calvillo said last game against Calgary that it was one of the worst games he's played. This is just really, really a beautiful thing to watch. He sits there, recognizes where he wants to go. Cahoon sits in a hole, and as you know what? It's a bullet. Look at him just rifle this ball right into your living room. Cahoon sits there, finds the opening in the zone. That is a nice job.
And you saw Cavill jump on the loose football. Here's Calvillo back to work, looking for Chris Coleman, and he overthrows the rookie CFL receiver.
Well, Fabian Burke coming in, getting a little playing action with the injury to Quincy Coleman, and now they're going after him, and you can see there, that's the play selection. That's the band of plays right now, right there, and that's on AC's wrist.
What I found interesting, Chris, is if he wants to highlight a receiver on that playlist, are the optimum plays suited to each of his receivers? So not just situations, but how do I exploit my talent? I've got plays for each guy that accentuate their talents. And here on 2nd and 10, Copeland cuts it back inside the 5. Donnie Brady saves the touchdown, but it's an 18-yard play. Calvillo to Copeland.
Well, just a little curl to the outside. Just going to curl. He sees Brady's got him. Then he stops, comes back inside. But a masterful job of Calvillo just dissecting this defense. A little late hit there taken by Calvillo by Sheldon Benoit.
This is a guy who went 2 for 9 for 23 yards in the first half in Calgary. Well, that's all it took to get him into mid-season form. AC's hot. This time, it's the Eskimos who jumped. Were they drawn? Alfred Payton took the first step.
I think Alfred Payton is a little frustrated right now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to call him for jumping the gun.
Offside, Edmonton number 56, first down.
Well, Alfred Payton working against Neil Fort, just trying to get the jump on top of your screen. And Neil kind of tosses him aside like a leftover burger.
There's the defensive coordinator of the Eskimos, Greg Marshall. And now that defense has to dig in deep. 1st and goal from the 2.5. Calvillo into the end zone, and the receiver slipped, and then Calvillo took a late shot. Cavill was the intended receiver, and Payton draws a flag.
Well, penalty again, Chris, and exactly what it is. You know, you get a break, the ball, the receiver slips to the back of the end zone, it falls harmlessly out of the way. You know, it's a team game, and taking penalties like that, it gives the offense another crack.
Roughing the passer, Edmonton 56, first down.
Now watch, here's the ball thrown. Now you got to stop. I mean, see the ball, they're fortunate. The Eskimo defense is fortunate that Kwame Cavill falls down, but they take a needless penalty again, and as a result, it's 1st and goal.
And now down on the 1-yard line. And they'll give it to Happel. And another flag is down with the running back in the end zone. And Bruno Appel's had quite an afternoon, but they're going to sort out this flag. Brian Chu already celebrating. It's going
offside,
against
Edmonton
the
number 91, decline.
Anytime you see the offensive lineman start sprinting back to the bench, you can be sure that they know what the call is already. But as you said, Appel catching the ball this afternoon and now running it in from 1 yard out behind the big offensive line, straight up the gut. Just a dive play, nothing fancy, legs driving. Look at the legs driving.
Well, that was a championship drive against the wind here in this 3rd quarter to silence the crowd and expand Montreal's lead. Well, it's a dejected Eskimo defense right now after that impressive scoring march capped by Bruno Appel.
Well, great job right here in the center. Chu is going to take him out. Flory comes in against him, and he's just going to go right up the hole here, and he's going to meet him, but he wins the battle. It's exactly how you want to run this. Look at that hole now. It's 1-on-1, and the big man Appel takes it into the end zone.
Winston October, and the Eskimos need a spark. And good kick coverage once again by the Alouettes. Stefan Fortin leading the way. And here's the scoring march. That great catch by Copeland really ignited things. Then Cahoon caught that rope. They get back on the football. And Appel punches it in.
But again, the touchdown aided by another penalty. Story of the day, 2 penalties on that drive. I mean,
Offside.
you just can't do that and expect to win football games against good teams.
So Bart Hendricks handed the reins, and here's Strickland. Hendricks escaped the first contact and now has to eat the football. And this Alouette defense is coming in waves.
Well, I guess, one of the reasons they can't go deep is they don't have time to set up and get the ball deep. But it just hasn't stopped all afternoon. They don't try and trick you. I mean, they just bring one more guy that you can block. And either as a quarterback, and maybe Hendricks will be able to do that, make the first guy miss, get to the outside to buy himself some time. But sitting in that pocket against this type of defense, it's not a good thing.
Loss of 7. 2nd and 17. Out of the gun, trying to buy some time. Herbie. And Wayne Shaw hung on long enough for the reserves to help bring him to the turf.
And a nice thing here, I mean, you talk to Coach Matthews. He says, our defensive backs love this system. It puts a lot of pressure on them because, if they do complete the pass, we've got to make the tackle. You know what? They've done an excellent job of coming up one-on-one and making the tackles, or at least holding them up long enough so the rest of your teammates can come over and help out. That's exactly what you got to do. You got a speedster like Herbie. They're not allowing him to get loose.
So 3rd down, and Fleming has to punt. 7th straight Eskimo possession that has ended with a Fleming punt. Green, this time wrapped up. As he is contained, Kelvin Powell, one of many downfield after the 43-yard punt. Well, Don Matthews knows his way to the Grey Cup game. As Steve mentioned, 5 times a Grey Cup winner as a head coach, but it's tough to repeat.
He said the biggest thing he got out of last game against Calgary when they came back from 18-1, he said, all around the locker room, what I've been telling them, they start to believe we have the heart of a champion.
Well, they are sending a message across the league very early that it may be tough to repeat, but it might be tough to knock this team off. Here's Cavill cutting back, still going, and hauled down from behind. Dorian Boost, the nose tackle, saved the day, where Cavill might have gone to the end zone.
Now remember who played this position last year. A good receiver by the name of Pat Woodcock. But you know what? When you have a guy like Kwame Cavill who just runs, I mean, he's got no fear. He just comes across the middle.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton, number 40. 1st down.
Another penalty from the Eskimos, but Kwame Cavill, I mean, no fear. This is what you got. This inspires the rest of your team. Don't retaliate, because once you retaliate, they always catch the second guy, and there it is. He made sure they saw him.
Collins got away with it, and then Don Matthews intervened and sent Collins off before he drew a penalty as well, as he maintains the discipline on the Alouette sideline, and the Eskimos' hole gets deeper. Here's Calvillo, chased by Reese, and throws it away.
One of the first times in the last little while we remember of Cavill getting any pressure. Nice job with the offensive line setting up. Even more because of the fact it's a fake play action. Looks like they're going to try to run a little draw, and he gets to the outside, throws the ball away.
Albert Reese, who has been rotated through that defensive line today, along with Boos, Steve Charbonneau, Randy Chevrier. Early movement. Calvillo, perhaps a free play, and Copeland dropped the ball.
Well, it'll be another offside against Alfred Payton. The threads are quickly unraveling here, Chris. The composure is falling.
And remember, Chris, no
offside. Edmonton, number 56. 2nd down, repeated.
Payton again, 3rd penalty in this 3rd quarter. No team won both ends of a short week a year ago. The Alouettes did win the second game of a short week on 4 days rest. In Saskatchewan last year, the only team that did, but they're going for the double here in first Calgary and then Edmonton. Here's Calvillo, and the screen to Graham with some room to rumble inside the 15.
He is calling a masterful game right now. Whatever Edmonton's defense tries to come up with, Calvillo's one play ahead. See a little pressure, dump it off, put it over the middle, give it to Graham. He picks it up, rambles down, and once again they're deep into Eskimo territory.
It has been a textbook third quarter for Anthony Calvillo. And they have another first down. And he'll roll right with lots of time into the end zone. And an incompletion, a collision in the end zone as Copeland lost his footing and Burke was on top of him. No penalty flag.
Well, Calvillo is really, you take a look at his pass distribution there. Benkham leading the way with 5 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Calvillo 4 for 75, and the list goes down all the way to Chris Coleman, 1 of 7. There is a wealth of talent on that receiving corps.
He had 8 300-yard passing games last season, and 2 of those were against Edmonton. And he's well on his way to 300 plus again. Second down, lofting it into the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Cavill.
And a nice touch on the football, just rainbowing it and arcing it in, putting it into the back of the end zone where Cavill will be the only one that possibly can come up with that catch. Nice arc on the ball, just going to throw it in there, just past Cavill's hands. I tell you, you know what? He is really, really rebounded from what he is saying is a worse game. It might be one of his best right now, the way he's playing in the second half.
So Kellett comes on, and he hits the field goal, his second of the game. Calvillo and his weapons discussing why they didn't get it into the end zone, but another impressive drive. It's 27-9, and Danny Machocha has to somehow find a way to ignite the offense.
You can see he's talking right here. He's trying to get him sparked. Something's got to raise the level of play here.
Challenging his offense while Montreal march downfield. So let's see what kind of response he gets. And again, Bart Hendricks, a second straight series. Quickly into the flat with a completion. Jason Tucker. And the going very tough, but Tucker gets 6.
Just throw it out to the flat, away from the pressure. Tucker trying to break a tackle, but once again, the sure tackling of the secondary of the Alouettes limits the gain. Everything is played in front of him right now. Nothing is behind him. Baron Miles with a sure-handed tackle, a little help from Omar Evans.
Now time winds down in this third quarter. Hendricks on second down, and that pass falls incomplete. Irby couldn't come up with it, and they'll have to punt it away again.
Well, if that's what they're going to give you as a defense and as an offense, you have to capitalize. And by not being able to come up with these key catches that are killing drives, all you're doing is further deflating the morale of your team, because now Fleming's back on. He's got to punt it, and once again, the Alouette offense, which has looked so sharp, is going to get the football.
Irby's got to make that catch. It was a first down. Instead, Fleming with one last punt with the wind at his back. Green from his 28. And Dante Green is rumbling again and putting on quite a show in the stadium where Henry Gizmo Williams became legendary. Dante Green's having quite a day.
The website is produced by CoStar Computer Systems.
Well, Dante Green has put on quite a show here today. A 39-yard punt return as he adds to his totals.
Well, you need a wall. Take a look right here. Look at this right here. They're all forming the wall. He's going to get to the outside. This is exactly, they're having fun today. Oh, that's nice.
And remember, he's had a couple called back. He has 244 punt return yards in the game.
And the one that was called back was for 67 yards. That'll put him over 300. We're giving him 223 on the screen. New Alouette record. Either way, your stat or that stat is still the record.
So if he heard footsteps from Keith Stokes.
You know what? You remember, I just flashback. Keith Stokes, these very same Eskimos, did he not have a field day returning punt?
Absolutely, week 6 a year ago. And right now, Ben Cahoon, Anthony Calvillo, and the Montreal offense having a field day in the second half.
Anthony Calvillo throws.
He is dissecting this defense and making them look very, very ordinary. Who was built up before this game as one of the tougher Eskimo defenses is looking very ordinary right now.
So at the 35-yard line, 2nd and 2, and Calvillo through the screen, nobody there, and a flag down, and maybe that's why nobody was there.
Anthony Calvillo's pass is incomplete, but there's a flag deep in the Eskimo
I think the intended receiver might have been tackled on the play away from the ball.
Chris, that's exactly what they're going to call.
Legal contact to the receiver. Edmonton 26, first down.
Donnie Brady raises his arms in frustration, and everything is going wrong here for the green and gold. Well,
let's take a look. We're going to take a look at this penalty right there. That's number 19. They got the call wrong. That's Fabian Burke.
No wonder Donnie Brady had his arms in the air.
But he figured, hey, it's raining right now. It's raining penalty.
So it's a first down, Alouettes, as Calvillo with surgeon-like precision here. Another completion.
Well, I wonder if it's going to be going out on a limb and saying Kwame Cavill could have a breakout year. This guy is so powerful once he catches the football. I mean, you talk about, you know, the yak yards, the yards after the catch. He just pulls away from people.
And again, that's the one upgrade is a bigger receiving core in Montreal, and they appear to be just as quick. Stacked up just past the line of scrimmage was Graham.
Well, they're definitely taller, the receiving crew of the Alouettes, but they seem to be hungry. And when you get guys like Kwame Cavill who, you know, will go fearlessly over the middle, that inspires the rest of the receivers. Then, of course, you got Ben Cahoon, who just finds and exploits any defense anyway. I mean, they got all the pieces right now. I mean, they look really good. I understand it's just the second game of the season, but Chris, you got to admit, they look pretty sharp offensively.
Well, Don Matthews made a couple of comments that raised eyebrows. Here's a 1st and 10 give, and Graham limited on that gain. He said this team was better than a year ago, and everybody said, well, it's a little early for that. And he also said that Anthony Calvillo, if healthy, could pass for 6,000 yards, and it would be tough to argue with either statement the way this team is operating today.
Well, remember, this is the second year that Cavill has called his own plays. He's very comfortable now. Now it becomes a game of chess out there. And he says the longer he plays, everything slows down. He sees things and the field in slow motion. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the football.
2nd and 10, and Calvillo has another open receiver. Chris Coleman spinning down to the 5.
Everything they're doing is working. They got 2 receivers over there. Copeland takes them deep. Both defensive backs stay with Copeland. Coleman slides underneath, makes the catch. I mean, if this is an orchestra, I'm buying a front seat to watch it. You can see both the defensive backs went with number 80, Jermaine Copeland. Chris Coleman just slid underneath, caught an easy pass.
So it's 3rd and 1 from the 5, and they drop the snap, and Calvillo on the second effort. Ball was dropped, and Alouettes seemed to be on it for a first down. Well, this was a strange one. A couple of fumbles there. He retrieved it off the snap, and then it comes loose again. And as has been the case in the second half, it's just all going Montreal's way.
Better look here. Ball gets punched out right there, comes forward.
And Azuma Okeke's on it.
That takes the Alouette bounce.
So 1st and goal from the 3. Here's Graham into the end zone, touchdown. And they are putting an exclamation mark on this performance in the second half.
Well, Uzumo Okeke, who recovered the last fumble, they're going to run right behind him. This is a nice job of washing. What I mean by washing is taking the defensive lineman the way they're going to flow and pushing them past the hole. Nice job of the offensive line taking advantage of the angle of the defensive line.
Well, Jay Graham is a drive finisher. That's his 2nd TD of the day, 3rd of the year. Well, there's Dan Kepley in charge of special teams, and this on the sidelines challenging his team to respond here. And I wouldn't argue with that guy.
No, he's angry. He should be. He's playing very undisciplined.
Winston October. And right now the field is tilted as October is nailed. Mike Bradley on that special team for the Eskimos wanted us to wish his grandmother Gertrude a happy 90th birthday, but she's a huge Eskimo fan, and right now she's probably not very happy either.
Well, it's a nice job. Just going to do a little slide protection, and he's going to cut it right up the middle, right behind the big boy, Scott Flory.
Under 10.5 minutes to go. Ricky Ray back in. That hitch screen is complete to Darrell Robinson, who spent all of last year on the practice roster for the Eskimos.
You know, and I think Kepley, when you look at Kepley getting angry, I think all he's trying to do, you're right, he's challenging the guys, but he wants to see a spark of anger coming back. Don't sit there like, you know, if you yell at your dog and he puts a tail between his legs, goes in the doghouse, he's looking for somebody to come back and snap at him. Show me some light in the eyes, baby.
I don't think he's looking at a Saskatchewan comeback. Nothing miraculous likely here, but I think they just want to see a response because it's been all Montreal. And here's that downfield play, and a nice catch by Rick Walters with flags down.
Chris, you mentioned that to me off camera. Why don't they do the little dump pass to Rick Walters? And there it is right there. Once again, it's a nice
forward pass interference. Montreal 38, decline, first down.
See, when you go a little farther downfield, you put the defense in a bind. They have to actually grab Rick Walters in that play.
I only mention it because that was the play that was successful early in the second half of the Grey Cup game when they finally got their offense going. First down, and Ray right back to the air. Downfield again for Walters' jump ball, and Baron Miles was there, got his hand on it.
Back to Rick Walters, there's another flag.
Another flag thrown as well in the Alouette secondary. Wait to sort this one out.
Well, can you believe this first week of the CFL?
Legal contact and receiver. Montreal number 38, first down.
Tim Strickland called that time, and it will prolong an Edmonton drive, but the Alouettes ready to cap a 5-for-5 week for the road team.
Oh, just a tackling job right there. Put a saddle on him and ride him. If you're going to do that, you might as well go to the rodeo.
As Jason Tucker was brought down. So they're into Alouette territory at the 50. There's Ray going back against the flow. Another flag. Another catch by Walters. And Rick Walters lunges to the 45. Long way for 5-yard pickup and pending the penalty.
Well, the orange linen has been on the ground a lot today.
Legal block, Edmonton, number 60. First down repeated.
Chris Morris.
12-year veteran, right tackle. Called for the illegal block.
Oh, that's a questionable call as well. You're just trying to protect the quarterback and run the defender past the quarterback.
That push on Filion is called, so it's 1st and 20. Quick release, Terry Vaughn, midfield, broke another tackle and got 8 extra yards, and Vaughn's gonna home bright light here.
Well, you know what I'm doing tomorrow? I'm burning the game film and I'm showing the catches by Terry Vaughn. If that can't inspire your team, this is at least the 3rd time we've seen Terry Vaughn make a catch in a crowd and refuse to be brought down, just busting tackles. Do you think they'd pick up on this?
Terry Vaughn, 5 for 59 and a touchdown.
And tough 59 yards.
2nd and 7. Looking downfield, Walters again! At the 10, drilled out of bounds. 37 yards, Ricky Ray to Ricky Walters.
Well, for one of the few times the Alouette defense does not come after Ricky Ray, allowing him the time to go downtown. Nice job of threading the ball to Ricky Walters. Tight ropes the sideline.
Well, he's a local product. 5 years as Saskatchewan Rough Rider, and he caught that Grey Cup touchdown pass last November. He has 2 catches in this drive for 56 yards. Ray rolling right side. Here's Vaughn. And he's hauled down at the 4. Reggie Durden in coverage against Vaughn.
This is the best this Eskimo offense has looked since early in the 1st quarter. Perhaps the Kepley talk did something. One-on-one. Dragged to the corner. Brought down by Durden.
Well, they've got to find something positive because they've got the Calgary Stampeders here Thursday night. A shorter week for Edmonton against their arch rivals. This drive started at the Edmonton 25, and now 2nd and goal from the 3. Ray into the end zone. Tucker, touchdown.
Terrific job by Ricky Ray to buy himself a little extra time and loft this football, and wonderful effort by Jason Tucker to lay his body out prone to the ground to make that catch.
Sean Fleming adds the extra point. And the Eskimos make it look a little more respectable. All-Canadian last year. Jason Tucker stretched out to make a nice touchdown grab.
Well, here he is right there. Now watch what he's going to do. He's just going to go over here, work against Reggie, and he come out flat here, make that play. Nice job of getting one-on-one coverage. Freeze him a little bit inside, then take him to the outside. Ray throws it where only Tucker can make the catch. Tucker lays out, makes a wonderful grab.
18-point Montreal lead. Here's Copeland. Fell as he hit the 40. And we take a look at the scoring march by the Eskimos. Ricky Ray went 6 for 7, 85 yards. A little second effort by Terry Vaughn got things going. And the long pass down the sideline to Rick Walters before Tucker hit pay dirt. Just under 6.5 minutes remaining.
Everything is low. Good. I mean, shit.
Here's Calvillo back to work and gets another nice catch from Copeland. Copeland heads right off. No, he's going to be okay. Might have got a
I think he got
finger
a
in the eye.
He looks like that. You see him squinting. He's going to stay in the game.
Well, he's the only person squinting today on a very overcast day here. Unseasonable. You know, I guess it's the longest day of the year, and that's the way it feels for these Edmonton fans. 30,109 braving a chilly, rainy day and not seeing what they had hoped for in this Grey Cup rematch.
Well, Edmonton had won its last 2 years season openers. Unless something drastically different happens in the next 5:53, they'll have lost their first one.
So second and less than a yard. And now we're ready to go. And Calvillo will just push forward.
Calvillo is the keeper.
Behind Chu and Lambert. Luke Fritz into the game as well, the reserve offensive lineman. And another 300-yard plus day for Anthony Calvillo, who broke Sam Echeverry's records for completions and yards last year.
Well, that's his 18th career 300-plus game as an Alouette. And out of those 18 games, when he passes for 300, he's only lost twice. That's a pretty good stat.
There's Graham, and he ran into Boos. Takes him down at the 52. No yards on that carry.
Well, you want to test the mettle of your team, the character of your team. That's exactly what's going to happen right now. We're going to see how the Eskimo defense rallies around the touchdown just scored by their offense. If they're going to stand up, get a little spark, get the ball back, or if they're just going to fold and allow Calvillo on that offense to march down again.
Alouettes will get a week off their next game against Saskatchewan. Flag down, Calvillo downfield looking for Cahoon off his fingertips. Looked like Montreal had jumped offside. Cavill seemed to be a step ahead of the play.
Offside, Montreal, number 82, decline. Third down.
You called it, Kwame Cavill, leaving a little early. Just steps over the line. He's just at the bottom right there, but at the end of the play, Cahoon working against Fabian Burke, and look at the effort. Almost comes up with a spectacular catch.
So Matt Kellett in on third down. Here comes the rush. Kellett got it away, and a good one. October from his 15. And October across the 25 on the return. We have 4:10 to go, fourth quarter in Edmonton.
4:10 remaining to play in the fourth quarter here in Edmonton, and it has been all the Montreal Alouettes. They lead 34-16. It looks as if the Owls are going to lead the West with 2 straight wins. Don't forget, next Saturday, the CFL on CBC. We are in Regina, where the Rough Riders will host the BC Lions. Chris?
Now we know Taylor Field will be buzzing. Will we see Kelvin Anderson in his BC Lion debut? Ricky Ray trying to continue the role that he established on the last drive. And there's Terry Bond trying to shake the swarming Alouette defense again.
You know what, this really frustrates me. Terry Vaughn gets the football, makes a great catch on the sideline, and fights for extra yards, and the rest of the team, aside from Chris Morris, is walking. Get over there. You want to get over there, and hey, look at this. He is going through everybody. The rest of the team is sauntering around looking at the grass. I tell you, if I'm in that huddle right now, I'm tearing a strip.
And you were known for that. First down in the flat and in and out of the hands of Jason Tucker. Well, these were your Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, we talked about the O-line, 8 sacks on Tuesday against Calgary, only 1 sack today. What a difference. They've done a good job. Stuffing the run, Pringle, they've held us to 13 rushing yards. Not much better you can do against that guy. Nice job of Montreal. Just doing a wonderful job on those game notes, making me look like a bit of a guru.
Nice of you to drop the game plan for the Alouettes here. 2nd and 10. And Ray in lots of trouble. Let's see if he gets out. He does. Ricky Ray, and then slowed up. Adrian Archie brought him down when it looked like Ricky Ray was on his way. 3-minute warning being given to the benches here. Well, there's Donta Green. We want to make sure we had the number right, and it was 244. We've confirmed that he has set not just an Alouette record, but a CFL record, once held by Gizmo Williams, who had 221 yards punt returning in a game. Keith Stokes broke that last year against Edmonton, 224. Donta Green has 244 and counting. And let's see if he adds to it here. Well, a few more for the record book. It's like 4 on that return, up to 248, and there were a bunch negated by penalties.
Well, 67 for sure, but the thing that amazes me is they keep kicking to him still. They don't even making him run to the football. They're low drive kicks, which allows the returner to be more successful because the cover team is not down there yet. We're not angling it away from them. They've tried it a couple times, were successful. They come right back and boot him the ball, saying, you know what, it's your night, my friend.
Well, again, I asked about Keith Stokes yesterday, and Don Matthews emphatically said he was not in his thought process. Tavares Bolden is in at quarterback in relief of Anthony Calvillo, and Bolden running up to midfield.
Well, the second-year quarterback, you see Anthony Calvillo. Let's take a look at Edmonton's. Don't forget your receivers. 6 different receivers have caught passes. Fortunately, Terry Vaughn, the only one to take it the end zone. Oh, Jason Tucker as well. And pressure Calvillo, well, we can put an X on that right there, as you can see. Calvillo, 320 passing yards.
Yeah, Calvillo being congratulated by Neil Fort. That offensive line stepped up today, and their field general was brilliant. And now Bolden goes to work. Graham crossing midfield with less than 2 minutes to go.
Well, if you're an offense, you know what, they talked about the short week, and I can tell you, I talked to Brian Chu, and he said they had such a blast because, you know, they had a pretty horrible first half against Calgary, but he said when they went to Red Deer, the rookies who didn't know the veterans very well, the veterans who may not know veterans from other teams very well, got together and they built some chemistry.
Full yard, guys, full yard.
2nd and 8. And Bolden pulled down at midfield. Albert Reese on that tackle. Raheem Abdullah in the pile. And it will set up 3rd down.
And it's 3rd down.
And we're going to see Matt Kellett come on to punt.
Pick up,
Winston
Roger.
October
Pick up,
from his 7.
That's right.
And now October with a little daylight, and it was shut right down.
Brian Nugent, nice job of coming across and taking away on a proper angle, not allowing Winston October to get to the sideline.
Nugent released by the Stampeders, and the Brampton native, former York University star, showed his speed there.
You know, and I know it's easy to speculate when the score is this one-sided right now, but might there be a linebacker in Winnipeg watching this game who maybe, just maybe, has a little smirk on him?
Yes, the Terry Ray question, a lot of people wondered what kind of impact it might have on the Eskimos. Although this defeat may be more thorough than just the absence of one player. There's Bott again, bouncing off a tackle, and away he goes. Down the sidelines inside the 50. Not too hard to pick an Eskimo offensive star here today. 39 yards for TV.
Well, Terry Vaughn again. Little sideline pass, and again he breaks the tackle as he's done all afternoon, and then does the rest on his own and puts on the afterburners and gets dragged down later, but not before he's picked up a nice chunk of real estate.
Well, Dante Green, you may have to get the ball again. We're now told that that was an incorrect stat. Here's first Ed Hervey with a flag down, and he fumbles the ball. And I think the Alouettes are on it at the 40-yard line. I think they factored in the long punt return that was called back. Now they've gone over the numbers again, and they have Green at 178 yards. So he will not have a record-setting day.
Well, I'll tell you,
but he did make an impact.
178 yards ain't a bad day of work.
My punt return my punt return blockers and the coaches, they did a good job today.
And he didn't do a bad job either.
Well, Herbie just coming across the middle. Ball's punched out. I believe that's the middle linebacker, Mark Thompson, who gets his hand on it. You know, what a reversal of fortunes, though. Remember last week, or Tuesday, it seems like last week, what was the one thing that Montreal had really trouble with was the punt cover, right? McGarity had great returns, return one for a touchdown, and here, not only have they done an excellent job on October, but they've just ran roughshod on the punt returns with Dante Green.
Even if it wasn't record-setting.
Even if it wasn't.
Well, Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes have sent a message across the Canadian Football League. Although they were not sharp in the first half in Calgary, they showed their mettle in the second half at McMahon and showed their dominance here this evening in Edmonton. And now they'll just run down the clock.
And for the fourth straight game, including the Grey Cup, last November, they have defeated these Eskimos. That monkey will still stay on their back.
Edmonton was 9-1 on home turf a year ago prior to the Grey Cup. And now they've lost 2 in a row at home to the Montreal Alouettes. So Dante Green, one of the stars, Anthony Calvillo, 300 yards plus, and a convincing second win for the Montreal Alouettes, and back to the drawing board for Tom Higgins and company after this season opener. As we join Steve Armitage.
Thank you very much, Chris. 178 yards, Dante, on the punt return. Congratulations. A super game.
Thank you. You know, the coaches came in with an excellent game plan today, and the players came out and executed, and I just seen the holes and took them, thanks to my blocking.
Did you think that you would be this good a fit on the punt return in the CFL?
Well, you know, I didn't think it would happen this fast, but I always believed in myself, and I did pretty much the same thing in college, and I pretty much found my niche back there, and I like returning punts.
Dante, congratulations.
Thank you.
Chris, back to you.
All right, Steve, quite a story here today. The defending Grey Cup champions with emphasis prevailing on Commonwealth Stadium turf, 34-16, the final.
Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium, where Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes have just dissected the Edmonton Eskimos. Anthony, you go from your own admission, a bad game in Calgary, to what I would suggest to you was a very, very good game here against the Eskimos.
Well, we came out to play 4 quarters this time. You know, we had a great game plan. We were executing from the get-go, and we played all 3 phases: our special teams, defense, and of course our offense. So when we could do this, we're going to put up some points, and we're going to have a good chance to win. And I think you used just about every one of your receivers in this one. Well, you know what? They're so talented. You know, a lot of guys, or a lot of the fans don't know about them yet, but they're going to, because they keep getting open. They keep making big plays for us.
Your coach, Don Matthews, says this is a bigger, better, faster team. And I don't think he had too many believers when he started saying that at training camp.
Well, we believed in the locker room. That was the most important thing. We believe in our heart that we have the talent to come here and win and compete for a championship. And we're just trying to prove it right now. And we're going to go out each week and try to win every ball game.
Thank you very much, AC. Congratulations on a great game.
Thank you. I just want to say hello to my wife. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
You just did, AC. The Alouettes, big winners over the Eskimos when we return to Commonwealth Stadium. Back with Brian and the panel.
And back live at Commonwealth Stadium here in Edmonton, where the Alouettes have just hammered the Eskimos with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie. I'm Brian Williams. Subway play of the game. Well, the player of the game, no question, is Dante Green from the Alouettes. He has to have the play of the game. Let's go back, and Sean, you describe it in the second quarter, 86-yard punt return.
Well, hey, we've got Dante Green. This guy's obviously going to be a star. We hadn't heard anything about this guy until, obviously, this year. And here you have a guy, he's supposed to be dead in the end zone. Now here he is coming down the sidelines, tiptoeing, just walking the line, beating guys. Look, how does he get through that? I mean, that's unbelievable. And right here, that gorilla's right on him. He's going, oh, no, down he goes. But that was an awesome return.
All right, Dante Green, one of the new players, the unknown players in Montreal. Everyone said that Don Matthews was nuts when he said this was a better team than last year, but some of these new players are making believers out of people, more than Dante Green.
Well, he had no one to throw to, right? Cavillo had no one in. Stokes is gone, Woodcock's gone, Phillips is gone. Where are the football players? Well, here they are. It's Cavill, it's Graham, and it's Dante Green. Matthews has a way of finding these players. That's his best attribute as a coach, is he can find talented football players.
You know, it was a sloppy first quarter here, and way too many penalties through the entire game. But I think, Greg, the problem was dumb plays by veteran players that should have known better. Not a lot of discipline here.
You know, and really surprising, especially from a Tom Higgins football team. Here's a guy who stresses discipline, and especially, you know, that's disappointing that it's coming from veteran players. You expect more from your veteran players than taking undisciplined penalties. You know, it made it difficult for themselves to get any momentum going tonight.
Let's talk about some of the storylines we dealt with in our pregame show. Often we don't get a chance to tie up the stories at the end of the game. Let's begin with Anthony Calvillo, Sean. Yesterday when we spent some time with Don Matthews, he said, I don't need veterans. I got Calvillo in the offensive line.
And he said that Calvillo is even better this year than he was last year. He says if Anthony stays healthy, he's going to be putting up 6,000 yards. And after performances like what we saw today, it's looking to be believable.
Now, the other big story prior to this game was Mike Pringle's reappearance in an Edmonton Eskimo uniform. Greg Frères, some thoughts on his performance or lack of performance today?
Well, we talked about that being one of the keys for tonight. Darren was talking about that, is you need a north-south runner, which we're saying Mike definitely is. You need to get through that first line of attack to be able to beat this Montreal defense. And non-existent, and, you know, really disappointing. I'm sure that he wanted to have a better outing tonight, and you know, that hurt the Edmonton Eskimos.
Darren Flutie, you talked about a short week, playing a couple of games in 4 days on the road. Nobody did that last year. Nobody won both of them. Montreal's done that.
Well, again, I have to go back to Coach Matthews. He has a way of handling this week, I think, better than maybe other coaches may handle it, but also they're a talented, good football team. I think kind of surprising the first week is that Calgary was better than maybe other teams thought they were, that we thought they were. And they come in here and beat a good Edmonton team that's supposed to compete for the West. So Montreal's for real. Look out.
Listen, love him or hate him, Matthews can coach. If we can hold this wide shot for just a minute, or we're off it right now, I just want to ask you guys, do you have a good time tonight?
I had a great time tonight.
Liked it a lot.
Well, we're with the master. What can we say?
Yeah, right. We'll see you next week in Regina. Let's go back up to the booth. Final thoughts from Chris Cuthbert and what's that other fellow? Chris Walby.
Yes, the big man. And, you know, I was thinking about how Don Matthews, who was an architect of great Edmonton defenses that won 5 straight Grey Cups, he invented a new position for James Quick Parker, and I think he's invented a new style of defense. It's going to be very tough to beat.
Well, you know, it's one thing to talk about, the high risk, high reward defense, but it's another to really make it work. And he just has a way of making it work. Keeps coming after him. You know, you talk about getting the ball downfield. You know what? You've got 2 seconds to get rid of that football. Yeah, there's an opportunity to do that, but if you're trying to, run the ball, I think you still have got to run the ball more than 5 to 6 times. Mike Pringle, yeah, he didn't have a great game by his standards, but give him a break. He only carried the ball once in the second half. Mike Pringle's not that kind of back. He is not a part-time back. Give him the ball. He needs it at least 20 times.
Although we did see a year ago, nobody ran on this defense. So.
I'm just saying, I'm looking for solutions. You're looking at ways to beat it. You just can't, decide, well, this part's broken, we're not going to use it again.
We thought this was going to be a tough start for Montreal. First 3 on the road, the first 7 against the West, which everybody thinks is tougher, but they are establishing themselves again as the team to beat.
Well, and we talked about the defense, but I mean, the offense looked just wonderful. I mean, Camille was having fun back there. We talked about the offensive line last week having some problems. They're having fun out there. The whole team had fun out there.
Yep, not much fun for the home side, Brian.
Not much fun indeed for the Edmonton Eskimos. A big night for the Montreal Alouettes as the Alouettes win at Commonwealth Stadium. Back for a final word in Edmonton right after this. And just a reminder, 1 week from tonight, we're at Taylor Field in Regina. The BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And prior to our game next Saturday, don't forget CBC Sports Saturday. The competition in the Golden League track and field will come from Oslo, Norway, and Steve Armitage will have more on the beach volleyball tour. Here in Edmonton tonight, the Montreal Alouettes with an easy win over the Edmonton Eskimos. Now for Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie, Chris Walby, Chris Cuthbert, and Steve Armitage, I'm Brian Williams. Hope you enjoyed it. From Edmonton, good night for the CFL on CBC.
CBC Sports, Canada's Olympic Network.